No problem.
Okay. All right, so here we go. So we're in Genesis chapter 2, verse 4. Can you read this one, Stan, please?
Yeah, I'm gonna read it from my Bible since it's not on the screen. I got it.
Okay.
These are the generations of heaven and of the earth when they were created. In the days that the Lord God made the earth and the heavens.
Okay, so this is coming out of King James Version. So it says, these are the generations, right? So why would they use a word like generations? Because that's not very clear as to what that means.
Right.
So it says, these are the generations of the heavens and the earth when they were created. So when they were created, right? So this is different from chapter 1, right? Chapter 1 says in the beginning.
Right.
But the question becomes what beginning? Because there was a beginning that started with the flood of Noah's day, and then there was the initial creation beginning. We'll never specify which. But this in Genesis chapter 1, Genesis chapter 2 is specifying that this is when the earth was created. So now let's look at how the other Bible translators deal with this. So in the New International Version, it says this is an account of the heavens and the earth when they were created. So it's still specifying when they were created. So let's just take a look at the meaning of account. So we're working with the same definition. You want to go ahead and read that, Stan? Account?
Yeah, you have to put it up.
Can you see it now? No?
Not yet.
Okay. Can you see it now?
Yeah, account. It's a noun, a report or description of an event or experience. A detailed account of what has been achieved. Synonyms: description, report, version, story, narration, narrative, statement, news, and explanation, exposition, interpretation. I'm not recognizing that word for some reason.
Communicate.
Recital, renditions, sketch, delineation, portrayal, tale, chronicle, history, record, act, archives, annual, minute, transaction, proceeding, transcript, diary, journal, web blog, vlog, moblog, memoir, review, register, law, relations, rehearsal, slide view, impression, information, citric. Police officer then gave an account of the incident.
Yeah, so here we're talking about a history, right? A history of what happened.
Right.
The record of it, right? So this is how New International Version is translating Genesis chapter 2. Okay, so of what? Of creation. In contrast to chapter 1, which is just generally in the beginning.
Yeah.
Chapter 2, verse 4 is very specific. So New Living, and I'm going to run through these, Stan, okay? New Living Creation says account. English Standard Version uses generations. Berean Bible Study says account. New American Standard Version says account. New King James, this is a history of the heaven and earth when they were created. So this is very specific. This is dealing with the initial creation.
Right.
King James uses generations. The Christian Standard Bible says that these are the records of the heavens and the earth. Okay, Contemporary Standard English Version says that's how the Most High created the heavens and the earth when he made the heavens and the earth. The Good News Translation says, notice this, and that is how the universe was created.
That is how, yeah.
So this is very specific, in contrast to Genesis chapter 1, verse 1.
The record.
Roman Christian Standard Bible, these are the records of the heavens and the earth concerning their creation. At the what? At the time the Most High made the heavens and the earth. So this is very specific, identifying the initial creation. International Standard Version. There's also the records of the universe at its creation. The NET Bible, an account of the heavens when they were created. Heart, the New Heart, an account. God's Word uses account. JPS Tanakh uses generations. New American Standard account. Notice Jubilee Bible. These are the origins of the heavens and the earth when they were created. Notice that it says what? In the what?
Day.
In contrast to Genesis chapter 2, which says how many days? You're muted, Judy. Can you go ahead with your comment, Judy? We can't hear you, sis.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not able to hear you, Judy. So Stan, how many days in Genesis 1?
You know, I can't remember. Maybe it says 7. I can't really remember.
Yes, there's 7 days. If you look back up, if you look up at well, Genesis chapter 1.
Man was created in the day. Well, the King James says in the day.
Right. So chapter 2 says in the day, right?
It says 7 days. Blessed now.
Right, but in chapter 1, it's using 7 days.
Right. Okay.
So
back in, yeah.
So there's a different number of days in chapter 1 and chapter 2, right? So, and I'll bring that out too. So King James says, the King James 2000 says generation, and it says in the what? Day.
Day.
Singular. Okay, American King James Version says generations and also day, 1 day. The day is 1 day. These are the generations of the heavens and the earth when they were created in the day that the Most High made them. This is the book of the generations of the earth when they were made in the what? The day. The Yahweh. These are the generations, and then it goes down to say in the day. These are the histories of the heavens and earth when they were created.
She's saying the 7th AI.
I'm sorry?
Judith is saying that it says in chapter 2, the 7th day.
Yes. But that 7th day in chapter 2 is the end, is the ending of chapter 1.
Yeah, she's saying that her mic is unmuted, but we can't hear her.
Okay. Well, thanks, Judy, for your comment. I'm sorry that that I can't hear you. I would really like for you to be involved. But I appreciate your comment. If you can fix it, you know, we'd love to hear from you.
I was just saying chapter 1 teach ends on the 6th day.
Yes, but check this out. Okay.
Technically. That's what she's saying. Technically. It says 6 days.
Yes.
And she's saying chapter 2 says 7 days. I don't recall.
So, I'll show you. So here. Now remember, as you know, these chapters and verses were added later.
Right.
They're not in the original documents. So
right. Nor the commons and semicolons and all of that.
Yes. So you see where it says thus? You see where it says thus? Let's look at the meaning of thus.
That's a carry on from the verse before.
Yes. But for the benefit of the people who may not understand that, who watch the video.
Okay. Remember, I couldn't see that. Wait a minute, hold on. She just said something else.
Okay.
Didn't end on the sixth day. Like I was saying. Remember, we noted that chapter 1 story ended the beginning of chapter 2.
That's right. Chapter 1 ends in chapter 2.
Right. But we were saying that it should have more likely end on verse 4 should have been the beginning of chapter 2.
That's
rather
correct.
than.
And let's prove it out.
Yeah.
For the benefit of the people who may not have the understanding of English grammar.
Right. I can agree with that.
Okay.
But so, I think that's more so on the translators and not on the original writer.
That's correct, because they intentionally added those chapters and verses. So
right.
This is an intentional deceit.
Right.
So when we look at the word thus, can you read the definition, please?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me remove that. As a result or sequence of this, therefore.
Yes, as a result or consequence of this.
Consequence. How did I get that?
Right.
I didn't see consequence for some reason.
Yeah. So that's talking about something that preceded it or came before it, right?
Right.
So that's the things that happen in chapter 1. Follow me? Yes. So these are the things that happen in
Judah, can you hear? Can you hear us?
So here we are in verse 31, which is the end of chapter 1. See, it says, and this deity saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the 6th day.
Right, that's for sure.
Yes. So when we go to chapter 2, it says thus, or as a consequence, result, so on and so forth. So this should be a continuation of chapter 1.
Right.
Thus the heavens and the earth when they were what? See, finished.
Finished.
So, yeah, and the host of them, so on and so forth. And on the 7th day, this deity ended his work. So continuation from what began in Genesis chapter 1. And he rested on the 7th day from all his work which he made. In verse 3, and this deity blessed the 7th day and sanctified it because he rested from all of his work that he had made. So now that's the end.
That should be verse 32.
Yes, that's the end of chapter 1. So verse 4 of chapter 2 should be the beginning, should be verse 1 of chapter 2.
Verse 1 of chapter 2.
Because now it completely shifts and says, these are the generations of the heavens and the earth when they were created. As opposed to in 1, we look at in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, but what beginning? This is very vague. There are 2 beginnings. You follow what I'm saying? There are 2 beginnings. And the earth and these also have many meanings, right? Earth and heavens have many meanings. So we don't know exactly what's being said here. But when we go to Genesis 2, it's talking about the creation of the universe. Very specific, right? We saw it as we went through here. Okay. So we saw it's talking about the creation of the universe. And in the day, so the day means one day. The Webster's Bible says generations and the day. World English Bible says history.
Or couldn't the day just be the time or the era? In the era or in the time, in the day?
Well, yes, that's
supposed to say just in that one day.
Well, it has a definite article
during the era.
Right. It had right. So remember, we're not dealing with a 24-hour day.
Right.
Because they right. So, but it's so that means one. Whatever. If you're gonna look at this as an era, like an expanded length of time, but it's definitely not a number of hours, because they didn't quantify a day by 24 hours. Right. Okay. Yeah. And then so Young's literal, it says what? The birth of the heavens and the earth. So this is very clear that this is talking about the initial creation.
Right.
In their being prepared in the day, or as you said, in the era of time.
Right.
That the Most High made the earth and the heavens. So
that's strange how they put Jehovah in that translation and Yahweh in the other translation. Because they're the same. Yahweh and Jehovah, they both are the same, which is talking about Baal. There.
I have a question. This is kind of off topic, but I got a question for you. Why would they do that?
I have no idea. I don't know why they even created that.
Okay. Well, what I always...
Other than the fact that's a Canaanite god. And at one time, we worshiped the Canaanite gods. That's where we picked it up from. But...
Hello?
Oh, we hear you now. Yeah.
You know, I think my earphones are bad.
Yeah.
Earphones. Oh, that was easy fix. So I'm gonna take my.
If you have a comment, you can go ahead with your comment.
Yeah, continue.
Okay, I'll continue then. But the way I always suggest people that they should be very suspicious when they read the scriptures.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be extremely suspicious of everything you read, because these manuscripts, our manuscripts, were used to enslave us.
Yeah.
One of the ways you can enslave people is to confuse them. And you can create controversy over issues that don't lead anywhere. And you have people focused on a lot of things that don't mean anything.
Exactly.
But everybody's focused on it. Like, for example, the YHWH.
Right.
And the vowels, right? The people argue about which vowels go where. And
vowels.
Yeah, and look at how many people have arguments over this.
Yeah.
I mean, passionate arguments and mad and won't deal with each other because of his name is not pronounced this way, it's pronounced that way.
Right. I had to drop out of a class that said they were teaching Paleo Hebrew. Mm-hmm. They taught Paleo Hebrew as in terms of the characters, mm-hmm. but they applied them to modern words. Instead of wa, they said va, mm-hmm. vals. Mm-hmm. Instead of ba, they said be. Mm-hmm. So they applied modern terms to the Paleo characters. Yeah. And I had a hard time with the instructor, and I would. I had to drop the class because I told her she wasn't teaching Paleo Hebrew. She's teaching the characters, but she applying modern terms.
How much did that class cost, if you don't mind me asking?
It was supposed to cost $150. Mm-hmm. But I requested my money back after the third week.
Yeah.
And I got my money back because, she was talking bait, Vav. I mean, calling Abraham Abraham, saying Wa is Vav. And I'm like, there's no V. She said, well, there's no W either. But I'm saying, like, but that don't mean you can just create a V or create an E. I mean, where's these letters coming from that you're using? Because they're not in the ancient Paleo.
Let me show you something. I know somebody who made an issue out of what you're talking about right now. They said that the pronunciations or the sounds of the Phoenician Hebrew or the well, let me just pull a video up. Let me pull it up.
You familiar with this?
Yeah. I've been accused of what did they say? Well, let me show you. Let me just show you this, okay?
Okay.
Take a look at this.
If you manage a team, you have to try Monday.com. Monday.com is a platform to track.
This is, let me introduce it. This is the Tagalog language. This is the official language of the Philippines. Okay, English and Tagalog. Now, I've shown through documentation, scholarly articles, research, the whole 9 yards, that Filipinos are our people. They are the house of Yasharal.
Right.
And that Manila was the primary slave port in Asia during the transatlantic slave trade. And the Filipinos were shipped by boat, the Manila galleons. They were sent to Mexico, Cancun, Mexico, and enslaved in Mexico and other parts of South America. Also shipped to Europe. Now, let me show you. You're going to recognize this, Stan. Watch this. Take a look at these alphabet and think about think about our pictographs and how they sound. Check this out.
Tayo na at mag-aral ng ating abakada. Abakada egaha, ilaman ang oka. Rasa sa uwaya, ang ating abakada.
So take a look at that.
Wow.
Ba, ka.
Right.
This is E. They were enslaved by the Spanish for 300 and something years, y'all.
Right.
Ga,
ha,
ha.
la, ma,
You know
ma,
what I'm saying?
Right.
ra, sa, ta.
But people will say that the way we make our sounds in the Phoenician Hebrew is fake, it's false.
Oh yeah, that's what he said. As a matter of fact, man, he got 2 books, right, written on the ancient dialect, and he's going to tell me nobody know what it sounds like. So I said, well, why are you writing about something that you don't know what it sounds like?
Right.
You're doing some extensive writing. You're earning money, talking about a language that's really foreign to you. You really can't, you have no concept of. But you're making money off of it, and you're saying that nobody know what it sounds like? That's crazy.
But you see, my book, 911 Ibaryath Rescue, we use the right sounds. And people came after me, right? But here it is. This is one of them. Okay, this is Tagalog has the same, very similar sound in their alphabet. You see that?
Right.
These are people who were enslaved by the Spanish, sold in slavery on ships. But here it is. But people came after me, man, about my 911 Ibaryath Rescue. But here it is. Here it is. So this and Sanskrit, and they have other dialects in the Philippines that use these same sounds.
Mm.
So here, this is the proof that the Phoenician Hebrew, and as I present it, and I'm sure there are probably other people who are teaching it the same way, using these same sounds. I'm not the only one, I'm sure, right? But here it is. And Filipinos don't look white and they don't have blue eyes.
No.
Most of them are very dark. You get a lot who have the Asian, features in color because they've been raped and.
According to my DNA, I got about 3% Filipino in me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, babe.
So here we are, right? This is the evidence that these sounds are real.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that's a sad thing. So in my book, the 911 Ibaryath Rescue book, right? If somebody ever comes against me again on that, I have many videos where I can show that there are languages that to this day use this sound. And the Filipino people were enslaved by the Spanish for 300 plus years and sold on slave ships.
Yeah.
Right? And when I lived in Philippines, almost 8 years, the curses are more profound in
Among
the
them,
Philippines than they are in the US.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, extreme.
Wow.
Yeah, Pacquiao, the boxer, man, he talked about that. He brought electricity to the part of the country that he lived in because they didn't have electricity.
Oh yeah. And here's the sad part, man. This is the sad part, that the descendants of the Spanish, the white-looking people, they own everything.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's hard to see. I've never seen a real dark Filipino with a job.
Mm-hmm.
That's how bad it is. And man, you got people living on the street, and the foreigners go over there, and they got the sex tourism. I mean, it's just sad.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
Well, we know about the Spanish, how they tried to breed the more out of them.
Yeah.
So here we are. The Phoenician Hebrew is proven, proven these sounds exist.
Right.
Proven. Okay, so anyway, let's continue.
Yeah.
Get
I
to
wrote
chapter
that down.
2.
Yeah. I made a note of that. I'm going to look that up as soon as we get done.
Yeah, but that's for me, that's a big deal, because the thing that we are missing as a people is our language.
Yep.
And we can never achieve any type of national identity that's meaningful that we can rally around without a national language.
Mm-hmm.
It's just impossible.
Yeah.
People need a common history, right?
Mm-hmm.
They need a landmass and they need a language.
Yeah.
That's what makes them a people. So, but anyway, so let's continue. We're on chapter 2.
Verse 5.
Okay. So Stan, would you like, well, Judith, would you like to read?
Okay.
Verse 5.
Verse 5.
Right here.
And every plant of the field before it was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew, for the Lord God, that would be the Most High, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Had not caused it to rain upon the earth. And there was not a man to till the ground.
Okay, thanks. Now, what do we notice? What stands out about this right now? This verse.
The Lord had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was not a man to till the ground.
Yes.
Why would he need to till the ground?
Now, what?
Kind of the field before it was in the earth.
Yeah. Right. Now, see, doesn't that sound out of place and strange?
Yeah.
Because I'm saying he had already made man. because he made a male and female.
Well, we'll get there, Stan. But notice what's happening between verse 4 and 5. Verse 4 is talking about the initial creation of the physical universe, as we saw. And then 5 says, and every plant of the field, what? Before.
Mm-hmm.
Before it was in the earth. So something is missing between 2 and 5. It appears.
Right. That whole sentence doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, there's no segue. There's nothing to introduce this into this. And every what happened? Let me try to clean that up.
These are the generations of the heavens and of the earth when they were created in the day that the Lord God Yahweh made the earth and the heavens and every plant of the field before it was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew. For the Lord had not. That's crazy.
You see that? It doesn't flow, right? Something's missing in there. And I don't know why my highlight won't move. I don't know what happened. Let me refresh this page.
The before is bothering me too.
Yes.
And every plant of the field before it was in the earth. Before it was in the earth.
Because this is talking about the initial creation of the heavens and the earth. Right? And then this says, and every plant before it was in the earth. So it appears to me that something is missing between these.
So did he made the heaven and he made the earth and heavens and every plant of the field. So he made the plants before they were in the earth, and he made the herbs of the field before it even grew. For the Lord had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was not a man to till the ground. So it's like he made the plants before there was even an earth and before there was even man. That's what it's saying. I didn't read that. I didn't know that. That's what it was saying, but because I never broke it down like that. We just read it.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's very ambiguous, and so it appears that an editor could have taken something out. That's how I'm looking. I'm not saying that that's so. I'm just
it's a possibility.
People, so that people could think about this.
Hey,
yes.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
It's a little off, but I just need to know. What script is this?
What's Genesis chapter 2, verse 5?
No, the paper I'm holding up.
What script is that?
Yeah, it's an ancient Hebrew.
Yeah, that looks like the Ta, T-H-A.
Yeah, I'm talking about, you see this letter here?
Oh yeah, I don't, that bar at the bottom shouldn't be there.
Yeah, but see, this saying this is the Tha. They saying this is the Alapa. In this particular the script, I don't know what they're calling it, but they call it Gabriel.
I don't know who.
They refer to the Most High as Yahweh.
But when you say they, who are you referring to?
This guy that talks about this ancient Paleo script. And I've been trying to figure out what it is. I got a shirt that I bought that has this script on it. So I've been looking because I couldn't read what the shirt said.
Well, I haven't seen that in any lexicon.
Yeah.
Wait back. Let me see. The best, what I would tell you to do, man, is take a look in some lexicons.
Okay.
You're gonna see variation. You'll see variation in the form. That's called the form. What you're looking at, they refer to that as the form. You'll see variation in the form of the pictographs depending on the time period that lexicograph was printed. You see what I'm saying? So
yeah.
And the images come from documents or artifacts that have been found with those pictographs on it. and they just assume it's this and that, right?
Okay.
So it could be in the same way that one person makes the letter A or the letter T, somebody else will make it different.
Yeah, I was just thinking that too.
But it's still the same letter.
I know when they speak it, I mean, it's heavy guttural. And they got a rhythm to it. Ah, ba, ga, ba, da, wa, wa, kiko. I mean, it's, I don't know. The guys are all wrapped up in gear and wear gold and black. And I was just trying to figure out what it was because I can't find it. But they seem to be speaking it and teaching it. I don't know.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know if it's a Syrian script. I mean, because they just call it the Gabriel, and they refer to the Most High as Yahweh, Y-A''O''H.
Well, it's the same as the YWH. I mean, it's the same as Strong's number 3068. That's what it's.
Same argument.
Yeah.
So it's the same
Yahweh.
Which vowels are you going to put between the Y and the H?
Yeah. And that's really kind of, I'm going to give you my opinion. That's really a bunch of foolishness because our ancestors didn't even use vowels. So why even make an argument about what vowels to use? You see what I mean?
Right.
It's a path that leads nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Let alone, let me squash this. Well, there's another issue. When you look at the Hebrew word for name, what you're going to find is that name is not a Hebraic concept at all. That's a Roman concept.
Mm-hmm.
Our ancestors dealt with histories, memorials. That's why the Most High always talked about what he has done. That's what the whole feast days are about, the history of what he's done.
Right.
That's why he tells us to teach our children. Why? So that they'll have trust.
Mm-hmm.
Why? So they'll follow the instructions. By instructions, I mean commandments. Why? Because he wants to bless us. He wants us to make us extremely wealthy.
Right.
When you look at Deuteronomy, that's Deuteronomy 28, the blessings, that's all about property and wealth.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Land. Yeah.
All about property and wealth, the riches of the earth. That's what it's all about. He wants us to have it. That's why he wants us to know our history. He is a power that is known by his history. So this whole stuff about what his name is and all of that is foolishness. It's ridiculous. It's a Roman concept to begin with, and it means absolutely nothing. But it takes us away from learning what those instructions are and then following them. Because people arguing about names and what vowels go where. It's foolishness. But anyway, let's get back to chapter 2.
Let's get into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how that happened, y'all.
So for number 1, would we say heavens and earth?
No, sis, it was already there. See, we're jumping the gun, but I'll go ahead and say it anyway.
It says in verse 4, in the day that the Lord hath made the earth and the heavens.
Yes, but he didn't speak it into existence. He just made it. There's no speaking it. Like in chapter 1, remember John 1? Let me go back.
Yeah, but we don't see the word and we don't see said. We see created, an active verb.
Yes, it's just boom, it's there.
Yeah, so verse 4 says the generations of the heaven when they were created in the day that the Lord hath made the heavens and the earth and the heavens.
Yeah, well, okay.
They said earth and heavens in this one.
Yeah, well, put earth and heaven for 1. There's no speaking anything into existence in this chapter.
Right, exactly. It's action word.
Right.
Created. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Just like that, boom, it's there.
Yeah. And then the verse 5, though, that's confusing because
that's very confusing.
It doesn't say that he created, but it says that, but it's a continuation of verse 4 when it says, The Lord God had made the earth and the heavens and every plant of the field before it was in the earth.
Right.
So it is saying that he created the plants too before they were in the earth.
I see what you're saying, but I don't read it that way. But I see what you're saying.
The way I see it is he created it, but it hasn't manifested it yet.
Yeah.
And every plant of the field before it was in the earth. It's saying it's a continuation and conjunction, right? Every plant of the field before it was in the earth. In other words, saying he created it, but it just haven't manifested itself. But it's been created.
Okay.
Let's go back to those things that he called that be not as though they are. And his word can't return to him void. So whatever he say, it must come to pass.
Just like he had created us before we manifested too.
Right. We were all
already
created before we became flesh. We were all created in him. He told Jeremiah, I knew you before I formed you in your mother's belly, basically. He said, I knew.
So in that same regard, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Now let's look at verse 6.
But there went out.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Judith. This one.
Who?
Stan.
You.
Okay, but there went up a mist from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground. So the mist went up from the earth as opposed from down to the sky.
Right. It hadn't yet rained.
But do you see there says nothing about the creation of water?
No.
It contradicts.
But it already said that it was created already. Right?
Where?
In verse 1.
It depends on of what chapter.
Chapter 1. I mean, in chapter 1, it says that the water was already, it was here. He made it already.
Right, but we're dealing with chapter 2 now.
Right.
And that's a different.
Is this different, or is this a continue on? Or is this just an explanation of what he done in chapter 1?
Well, we're gonna refer to our list. That's why we're making the list.
Right. So what should we put for chapter 4? I mean, verse 4.
We don't necessarily put down anything per verse. We put down what is created as we read it.
Okay.
And so now we're trying to determine what's the next thing after earth and heavens.
But everything is created though, right? Already. In verse 2, to be created.
Chapter 1, well, we don't see that in chapter 2 yet. In chapter 1, that we said that that's a different beginning. Because if there was already water on the earth that covered the earth, that happened during the flood. So it's kind of like out of order. That's what I'm to it. It's out of order.
Yeah, we're gonna compare the list, Stan, so you can see it.
All right.
So the mist, the mist, and watered the whole face of the earth. So then, if we can we just say that he created the mist?
But it was already there. There's no, unless you're gonna, unless we say, well, we could say that because, no, we can't, because it says the heavens. In the day he made the heavens and the earth. So we can assume that the water vapor.
With the heavens, the gas.
Water.
Yeah, if there's water on the earth, you have the means of having vapor.
Right. So we could say that the heaven, because there is water in the sky, right? It's water vapor. So we could say that condensed, but it's unclear as to how the water would have gotten into the earth, because it would have to what? In order for it to go to from the heavens into the earth, it would have to what?
It would have to rain.
It would have to rain. But what does the scripture say?
It had not rained yet.
You guys see that?
Yeah.
So then the earth must have been created with water and soil.
Well, it was. I mean, it was water. The whole earth was filled with water. The earth was underneath the water, right? And then he called it to appear.
But we didn't get
by drawing the water together.
But see, Stan, we're just dealing with chapter 2 right now, not chapter 1.
Okay, so yeah, my curiosity would be if chapter 1 was inserted and we did chapter 2.
Yeah,
When
if
was
we
water created?
chapter 1,
We'd have to assume that.
hard to determine.
Excuse me?
I said, if we didn't have knowledge of chapter 1, just say we haven't read it, we don't know nothing about chapter 1,
Right.
and we started reading in chapter 2, we would not know where this water, where this mist is coming from.
Exactly. That's my curiosity. That's what I'm saying.
We have no idea how it got here.
Right.
Chapter 1.
Yeah. So we can't really assume.
Right.
But
So Stan, we're trying to parse this out.
Right.
We're looking at chapter 1 and chapter 2 independently, separately from each other.
Right. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to rationalize it. Without chapter 1, just reading chapter 2, having no knowledge of chapter 1, I will have no ability to ascertain one way or the other where this mist is coming from.
But you know what I would assume based on my knowledge, pardon me for interrupting, but I would assume based on my knowledge is that the heavens and the earth were exactly how we know heaven and earth right now. I know earth is water and land and gas, fire. And I know the heavens is gas. Before there was rain, it's gas, right? So I would just assume if I didn't have chapter 1 and I'm only reading chapter 2, and I just was reading without all this study, but I was like, the heavens and the earth, earth and heavens, and then a mist went up from the ground, that the earth had contained water already, that the earth is the way I know it now with water and land, and that the water went up first, and then you got clouds, and then it would cycle that way. And that's how the Most High created the cycle of water, going up into the heavens and creating clouds and then raining. That would be my understanding.
So now, Judith, can you read the Strong's definition of earth that's used in Genesis chapter 2, verse 6?
Land, earth. 1A is earth. 1A1, whole earth as opposed to a part. 1A2, earth as opposed to heaven. 1A3, earth like an inhabitants. 1B, land. 1B1, country, territory. 1B2, district, region. 1B3, tribal territory. 1B4, piece of ground. 1B5, land of Canaan or Israel. 1B6, inhabitants of land. 1B7, Sheol, land without return, the underworld. 1B8, city state. 1C, ground, surface of the earth. 1C1, ground. 1C2, soil. 1D, in phrases. That's all in parentheses. I don't know what that means. Right. 1D1, people of the land. 1D2, space or distance of country in measurements of distance. 1D3, level or plain country. 1D4, land of the living. 5 is ends of the earth. E is almost wholly, late in usage, all in parentheses. 1E1, lands, countries, and 1E1A, often in contrast to Canaan.
Well, what can you conclude from the meaning of the Hebrew word that's translated as the earth?
Basically, it's land or territory, place.
Land or territory. So the water is unaccounted for, how it got there. Okay? So how do we deal with that?
Well, no, I didn't say that, because Earth is a planet with land, with water and land.
Yes, but we're just dealing with the language, right?
Yeah.
So anything else we would be
assuming.
Yeah, assuming. So this is why It's very suspicious. Is there something missing between 4 and 5?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You were going? Okay. So,
Yeah.
so 7. Can we have 7, Stan?
Yeah. Let me move these pictures. Let me move the pictures. Okay. And the Lord God formed man, or the Most High formed man from the dust of the ground. And he breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And man became a living soul.
Okay, so man, that's male, is next on the list of your order of creation in Genesis chapter.
Right.
Man.
That's individual. That's Adam.
It actually means earthling. It's
right.
actually not a name, right? I think
right.
you guys know.
Well, yeah, Adam means made of the earth, made from earth.
Yes. So it's not a man's name. It just means made from the
man. There.
Was Adam a race of people, or a race of people, or a nation? The Adamites. Is that? I had heard about it.
I know Adamites are opposed to the creation in day one.
Oh.
Okay, Adamites, like there's like some teach. I'm not saying whether I agree with it or not, that this is a different creation here. The earlier creation was it wasn't of just one male, one female. It was a whole gamut. It include a species. He made them man, right. Female, them male and female. Here we're speaking of a different creation of man actually being made, not spoken, but being made. He's being formed. He's being brought together as if by the hands of Yah, and he's being formed from the dirt of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If I can say that.
Okay, so let's continue. Verse 8. Whose turn is it to read?
Your turn. My
turn. Okay. Yeah, the Most High planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed. So the interesting thing about here is that the man was not, and y'all notice it didn't say Adam, right? It just says the man.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Exactly. But if you look that word up, you will see Adam.
Yeah, but Adam is not a name. Aim is
right. It means man or earth man. Right.
Remember, name is always a Roman concept.
Right.
Objects have names, like a cow, a chair, a table.
Right. This would include all of us.
We have appellations.
Mm-hmm.
Has an appellation.
Right. How we're called.
Yes. So there was this garden that was planted, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Adam was placed in Eden. Okay. Adam was placed in Eden.
And then notice where everybody else come from, but we'll get to that.
Mm-hmm. So number 9.
Not 9, 3.
Eden is not a creation, right? Eden is not a creation. This is a location.
But he planted a garden. That's something.
Well, this is something for this is a whole different topic. This is not a creation of life.
Garden is life.
Well, let's go into it. You'll see. You'll see.
Because remember, he created the plants.
Yes, but that comes later.
And now he's putting it in a garden.
See,
he's causing a garden to exist that otherwise exists.
Look at verse 9, everybody. Can we have that read? Can somebody read it?
You got to do it.
And out of the ground made the Lord Yahweh to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food, and the tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil.
Right. So the garden is not the plants. The vegetation was made after the garden was set up, or this location was determined. You guys see that? It says and.
Yeah. I mean, after he secured the area where he wanted the garden to be, he made everything grow out of the ground.
Right. Then he made the plants grow. But the area, the region is Eden.
Now, you know, there's another scripture. I don't know where it's at in the Bible. And it refers to these trees as people.
Yeah, yeah.
It refers to these trees as people. And these people are the people that were created in chapter 1.
What?
Yeah, there's a scripture. I heard it. I've heard it. I just don't remember what text it is.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but it doesn't say that those trees are the people who were created in chapter 1.
No, I didn't say that. I say people are implying that.
It's people, right? People imply
people do imply that. Yeah.
Right. So
all right.
This, I'm only saying this is how I see verse 8 and 9. I see verse 8 and 9 as Eden being a region, and then in that region, the Most High planted vegetation.
Mm-hmm.
So the next on the list would be vegetation. The next on the list would be vegetation.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we go back to 10, here this water is again. See, rivers, water. So verse 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 talks about the rivers, right? And then, so let's look at 15 now. 15. Should I read this one or someone else wants to read it?
I can read it.
Okay, go ahead.
And Yahuwah took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it.
Now, do you guys think it's strange that it's jumping so wildly from topic to topic? It went from planting this vegetation, and then it jumps to rivers, and then it jumps back to the garden.
Well, it's still on the garden because the garden is where the rivers are running through.
Well, yeah. Well, if you look at this in terms of how to write a well-written essay, would you not put, well, me, this might be just opinion, I would put the work that the man did with the vegetation, where's the verb? I would put that after 9 before I move on to talk about rivers and
okay, like but remember, right?
Huh?
I'm saying just remember, right? When we do an inductive study of the scriptures, we look at content, context, and intent. We got to look at the author in the day and time in which it was written, the type of writing they did in that day and time.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So Moses is not writing as a scholar because he wasn't an educated man anyway. Well, he was in Egypt, but he's not writing from a point of view of a scholar 3,500 years ago, or however how long ago it was. Literary, I mean, it has changed so much, even from just looking at early English to modern English, and how literation has changed. So you're thinking in today's term, no, you wouldn't use this style of writing. We got to understand when it was done and who done it.
Okay, that's a good point. That's a good point. So in verse,
we got to look at these interpreters, man, and what they doing. I mean, the chaos that they're bringing in.
Yeah.
You know, that Moses never wrote or intended to be there.
So it goes into about the rivers, and then it jumps back to the garden and the earthlings basically his job or his assignment, right? He put him in the garden or that region to dress it. When you look at this is like being a landscaper.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I got into a big discussion with a professor about that last term.
And
well, he didn't understand what it meant to dress it and keep it.
okay.
He didn't understand the garden. I mean, understanding this is before sin entered into the world. The garden was perfect, nothing to die. This man was intended to live forever. Death came about as a curse of his action. So in terms, there was nothing to dress or to keep. This word keep means more so to protect what God gave. And we also protect what God gave us.
Right, but to protect from who or what?
From the enemy that's out there from the beginning, the adversary, because he's coming to take.
But that's implied.
Yeah.
Because we don't see in chapter 2 where an enemy was created.
Not yet. But we see that El talked about it in chapter 1, the disembodied body, the disembodied spirit.
But remember, we were saying chapter 2 is separate from chapter 1.
Yeah.
That we're just reading it as though chapter 1 was included after this whole beginning.
Right. I got to remember that.
Separate.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to understand that if he gave him a garden. Okay, it's like me. If I want to go have my own homestead, I have to dress the garden. I have to care for it, plant the seeds and care for it and keep it. Like the Most High says, if I take care of it, I'm going to be able to keep my garden forever and it's going to feed me forever. I'm not going to have to worry about rabbits and deer coming to eat up my garden. So that's how I'm looking at it. Dress it means to care for it, like you dress a wound, keep it. You're good steward.
So could it be that the protect means, this is just hypothetical, could it be to protect one plant from another? One type of plant from overgrowing and overgrowing the area that it's supposed to be in? I mean, you guys understand what I'm saying? Like if you're going to manicure, like for example, if your grass overgrows, right?
Yeah.
And it starts growing into the concrete or the bushes or something, you have to manicure it. Or one plant, if it grows too much, it could choke out the other plants.
We're still talking about cultivating, right?
Yeah, could it be that that's what he meant by protected?
What word are you implying is protect?
To keep it. It says, when you look that word keep up, you'll see that it talks about protection.
To keep it looking beautiful. To protect one plant from being choked out by another. Could it be that? Because there's nothing else, there are no other living things yet. Other than the vegetation at this point.
Yeah.
To this chapter, right?
Yeah.
According to this chapter.
According to this chapter, yeah.
Right.
Keep it. Okay.
So something to
when I read it, I'm just reading dress it is to take care of it and keep it. So keep it safe, keep it healthy, keep it vibrant, keep it fed, water it.
It's interesting because when you look up the word Garden of Eden, you come up with different synonyms. Paradise,
idyllic,
place where God dwells.
So what I get is that we're he was given this garden, and he was supposed to be a good steward over it. Like any gift that the Most High gives us, we're supposed to be a good steward of that gift.
Anybody read the book of Adam and Eve?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Interesting book.
What is it?
The book of Adam and Eve.
Oh, no.
Are you guys aware of what region, or let's say country in modern terms, what country right now has a history of being called the Garden of Eden?
It was Iraq.
Oh, Babylon, Iraq.
Iraq, where Bush bombed it.
Yeah.
No, that's what the scholars have said. But
Right.
what country has a history,
What you talking about, Israel?
a culture of being called the Garden of Eden? Or how about the navel of the earth?
You mean Africa?
Huh?
Like the Amazon?
Yeah, it's the Amazon. No, it's actually Peru. Peru is known as the navel of the earth.
Get out of here.
And,
Really?
yeah, and the Garden of Eden. Yeah, it is.
What?
In history, y'all, in history.
I'm not. It's a beautiful country.
And I've never told anybody this
It's
before.
untouched. A lot of the areas are untouched.
When you look up Peru, if you look up Peru, in Hebrew, it actually means dispersed ones. Dispersed, scattered.
Wow.
Peru means dispersed or scattered in Hebrew. And the words that are associated, the words that are made from that root, have a nuance of the same meaning of dispersed and scattered.
So how do you explain the Assyria and the Euphrates and the Tigris? Those rivers are actually in the middle, quote unquote, Middle East.
Well,
There's still rivers they haven't found.
so this is a sticky area, because now we start getting into the promised land, and people get all upset about locations of the promised land if you don't agree with them. But I can refer people to a book called by Dr. David Imhotep called "The First Americans Were African." What the brother shows shows an avalanche of scholarly work that proves that the most ancient megalithic structures and everything that happened in the scripture happened over here in the Americas.
Wow.
But what he says that the Sphinx, now he proves using other people's research that everything over here is much older than the documented age of the monuments in Africa. So like the Sphinx, right?
Right.
But what he says is that the age of the Sphinx must be much older than what they have said it is, because the structures over here in the Americas are so much older than the Sphinx. So what he's saying is that Sphinx, but in my opinion, he's adjusting things so that it fits the out of Africa theory. Y'all see what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Well,
he's saying that
they know the Sphinx, it has weathering from water.
Yeah, I think they say it's about 24,000 years old, right?
No, because it was created during the time when that area was tropical. Because it was at one time you could see the weather, the like part of it had been underwater at one time. And since water, it's been over 12,000 years since that region had any water. So the Sphinx has to be older than that.
Right, but the monuments over here are much, much older than that.
Right.
And the oldest modern human in the Americas, the oldest modern human skeleton ever found is here in the Americas. right? But they're saying that out of Africa theory is where life began, because they have the humanoid. I forgot what those things are called, like the pre-human. There are 3 of them, no, 2 of them, and then from the 2 pre-humans, this is evolution. You get a modern human. So they're saying life started in Africa because you have the initial subhuman. Then you have that subhuman evolving, but it's still subhuman. Then you have modern human in Africa. So you have all 3 skeletal remains.
Right.
But the oldest modern human skeleton is in the Americas. So my position is, I don't accept that life began in Africa based upon what these scientists are saying, because that's evolution. If I'm just going to look at the data, the oldest life is found in South America. I'm sorry, the oldest modern human skeleton is found in South America. So I'm gonna go with that. If I'm going to look at just the evidence, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, okay, so let's get back. But then, you know, but that book is excellent. He builds on Dr. Ivan Van Sertima's work. They came before Columbus.
That they came before Columbus. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just an avalanche of data that Egypt was over here in the Americas.
Yeah.
And that over in Africa is a satellite that came like tens of thousands of years later.
Right.
Yeah.
Way before Columbus came.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And they still teaching that in school.
Yeah. I love that brother, Dr. David Imhotep. I learned so much from him. Here's another thing, Stan, for you. Where's that book? If I could find it, man, I'm gonna show it to you. If you get that book, he has a chapter. He has some citations about Phoenician, right? And he shows European scholars who have written that the Phoenician, when you think Phoenicians, it's a catchphrase. They began to use it as a catchphrase, and it includes melanated people such as the Canaanites, our ancestors, the house of Yasharal.
Yeah, right.
Around it. So when we talk about Phoenician Hebrew, there is no argument.
Right. Phoenician implies to seaworthy.
Yeah. And we know that we were seaworthy people. And they started to apply that to our people. They were calling us Phoenicians.
Right, because we were seaworthy.
It's right there documented by these European scholars.
Right.
So anybody who says, oh, Phoenician Hebrew, you know, how can there be such a thing as Phoenician Hebrew? They, you know, obviously they don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
But it's right there in that brother's book. He has many citations. Everybody should buy his book, I think.
That's called The First Americans or Americas?
The First Americans Were African by Dr. David Imhotep.
Okay.
That's one of the most informative books I have ever read. And I've read a whole lot of books.
Okay. I'll look that up.
Well, let's get through this because I want to get to those Anunnakians, man.
Okay.
I couldn't believe, man, in a Christian school, they brought that up.
Yeah, well, I'm going to show you some too. We're going to touch on that when we get to another part of this. Okay, so I think we're at the verse 16 and 17.
Yeah, 16. Yep.
You want to read it, Judy?
Sure. And the Lord Yahweh commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it. And the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die.
So Stan, you want to do 18?
Yeah. Yeah, and the Lord God said, it is not good that the man should be alone. Well, I'm glad he figured that out. And I will make him and help me for him.
So notice what's going to happen between verse 18 and 19.
Right, exactly.
Judy,
This is funny. So he's going to make a helpmeet for him. And out of the ground, the Lord Yahweh formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air, and brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof.
Okay, good. So what's standing out when you read 18 and 19? What?
The helpmeet were the beast. And he said he brought them unto Adam. So that's where we hear the man called Adam.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's not good that man be alone. So he made animals to keep him company.
Mm-hmm.
And birds.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, next on the list, put the land animals. So number
and
8,
fowl of the air.
and birds. Yeah, thanks, sis. But notice in 18, it talks about a helpmate, but then it jumps to creating the animals.
Yeah.
And the birds. And then what happens in verse 19? What's created next? Stan, you want to read that one?
Yeah, and out of the ground, the Most High.
Moving on to 20.
20?
Okay, verse 20, yeah.
Yeah. And Adam gave names to all cattle, and to the fowl of the air, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam, there was not found any helpmeet for him.
Okay. And then, so 19 and 20 is still talking about the creation of the land animals, right? And
Yeah.
But then look at number 20, 21. It says, and the Most High caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And then 22, and the rib which the Most High had taken from the man, made he a woman and brought her unto the man. So the next on the list of creation is the woman. But did y'all notice that there's another jump? He jumped from in 19 where he mentioned the woman, but then in 20 and 22 he jumps to another topic about land animals, and then 23 he goes back to the woman.
Yeah, but the 18 really wasn't saying a woman. It just said he needed a helpmeet, and the animals were created to be his helpers. But among the animals, we still didn't find the perfect helpmeet.
Okay, so the helpmate are the animals?
Well, if they are, they're not the perfect one.
They weren't the perfect one.
Yeah, but I don't know if it says perfect or not.
Is an singular or plural? I will make him an help meet for him. Singular.
Ooh.
Singular, right?
Singular. We're not talking about animals.
Right.
All right. So the topic, so Stan, here what you said could be a valid explanation as to why they're writing out of sequence. I mean, they're jumping from one topic to the next.
Okay.
Right?
What was that? What did he say?
Oh, Stan, you want to repeat that about the writing styles? Ancient and modern writing styles?
Yeah, I was just saying, we got, when you're doing an in-depth study of the scriptures, the three things you keep in mind, number one is intent, context. No, content, context, and intent. you have to keep those in mind, what the writer is saying, who is he saying it to. You gotta keep in mind why he's saying it, and then last, if it's just for then, or is it something today I can inquire from it.
Mm-hmm.
But the main thing is we can't. Marche writing style, like El was saying, he would have wrote it different, but he's basing that on the intelligence of the day.
Right, exactly.
On the intelligence of 3,000 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then you got to look at not just what Moses or Moshe intended, but what the translators' intentions are.
Exactly, and the editors.
Because they distorted a lot of what Moshe. So that's what we basically figuring out is the difference between what Moshe intended and what damaged the interpreters or their influence on scripture. Because see, that's why I keep talking about Psalms 48, because I know those 49 scholars, they put personal information. I know one did anyway. Shakespeare. He put his name in scriptures because he was one of the 49 scholars that was selected by King James to translate the Bible. And they wasn't supposed to sign it or sign their names to the work. But Shakespeare, being so intelligent, he did.
Yeah.
When he was 46 years old. In the 46th chapter of Psalms, the 46th word from the top is shake. The 46th word from the bottom is spear. He signed it in the work. So if he can do that, if he can have that much influence over scripture, know what these scholars are doing.
Right.
And that's what I'm trying to get at, Stan. That's what I'm trying to get at, is that I want to raise the issue to get people to think, did they edit something? Did they add or take something out?
Sure they did.
So I'm talking about just in Genesis chapter 2, because when it jumps from one topic to the other, and something appeared like the water, there's no explanation for how it got there. Did they take something out? Right?
Right.
Maybe yes, maybe no. When it jumps from vegetation, I'm
right.
sorry. So that's really what I'm getting at, and I like the things that you're saying, because as a people, we need to be very analytical and skeptical when we read. That's the only way we'll be able to uncover these deceptions that have been put in scripture.
Right. That's what I keep telling Old Testament brothers that believe that the New Testament was tampered with. I mean, you believe they tampered with the New Testament, but they didn't tamper with the Old? Does that make any sense?
Well, can we deal with that when we get done with that? Because there's a scripture in Jeremiah that actually tells us. Well,
okay.
I'll show it. In Jeremiah, he actually tells us. I'll just show it. This is actually on the cover of the 911 book. So let me go back, because this one is ambiguous. Let me go to the Bible. Here we go. So Stan, you want to read Jeremiah 8:8?
Yeah. How can we say we are wise, for we have the law of the Lord, of Yahweh, when actually the lion pen of the scribes have handled it falsely?
Judy, can you read the New Living Translation?
Sure. How can you say we are wise because we have the word of the Lord when your teachers have twisted it by writing lies?
Right.
So there it is.
What was that, Jeremiah 8:8?
Yep.
8:8.
8:8. So that's why we have to be very suspicious very skeptical and read like that, right?
Right.
Yep.
This is where I believe the Ruach comes in. Where if we earnestly seek the scriptures, I believe in spite of the tampering, we can get the truth if we allow the Ruach. If we lean on the Ruach rather than our own intelligence, Yah will get the truth to us.
Yeah.
That each writer intended for us to have.
Right.
Well, can I add to that, Stan?
Yeah, I hear you, baby. Okay, all right.
The Most High said, the Most High said we need to follow his instructions.
Right.
Right? And through following his instructions, that's what he would help us.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that there's action we need to take. We need to make a decision to sincerely follow, to wholeheartedly, sincerely, unhypocritically follow those instructions.
Right.
And
Proverbs 3 and 5.
Okay, and it's through the following of the instructions, which is action, that the Most High will then bless us. So we see that also in Deuteronomy chapter 28, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a matter of doing what he told us to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so can we? I just wanted to add that in there.
Let's go.
Okay, so we're on 23.
Yes. Yep.
But do you want to read the 23 through 25, please?
Wait. Did you read 22 and the rib which the Lord had taken from them?
Okay, 22 through 26 through 25.
Okay. And the rib, okay, which the Lord Yahweh had taken from man, made he a woman and brought her unto the man. And Adam said, this is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. And they were both naked. The man and his wife were not ashamed,
Mm-hmm. So what was the last? What was the last or the climax of creation? According to Genesis 2.
Marriage.
Of life, the creation of life. What was the last life form created?
Woman.
The woman.
Yeah. And what made her different from all other creation?
She was taken out of man.
And all other creations were what?
Just created by the Most High.
Oh, she was created by the Most High.
Wow.
But what was
she
the substance?
In other words, she had to be in man in order to come out of man.
But what was the substance? Man was created from the what?
The soil, dirt.
Right.
She was not.
Right.
Were created from
man.
But woman was created from the man. But the man, when we talk about man or animals, what makes us different is our DNA.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's the only difference, the DNA. So woman was, to state this in another way, the woman was made from DNA that was already prepared.
Right. Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Adam had both, the X and the Y.
The genome was already made.
Right.
And so the Most High took that, like a computer program, the Most High took that genome and made some changes and produced a woman.
That's how the Anunnaki claims to create us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
maybe they are that God, that disembodied.
You just hit on something, because that what we're gonna find out is that you are exactly right. He is one of them.
All right, because I mean they were gleamy in terms of complexion. They were albino, blonde hair, blue eyes, black features with very, very fair skin, and half reptile.
So,
Look like a snake.
Okay, so let's look at our list. Let's look at the list and compare chapter 1 to chapter 2. Okay? And see what we come up with. Do you have your list with you, Stan?
I'm looking at it now.
So let me pull this up, and so we can compare mine to. Give me 1 second here. I'll pull this up. I'm waiting for the app to open up. Hey Judy, can you go? Can you read the?
Okay. Well, are we comparing 1 to 1 or all of chapter 1 and all of chapter 2?
Let's let's compare 1 in chapter 1 with 1 in chapter 2, and then 2 in chapter 1 with
So,
chapter 2.
Number 1 in chapter 1 was light. Number 1 in chapter 2 was earth and heavens.
Just can you hold on a minute, because I want to show it so that the people who watch the video
Okay.
will be able to see it on the screen. Okay, 1 second. It finally opened up. Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
So, again, number 1 in Genesis chapter 1 is light. And the number 1 in Genesis chapter 2 is earth and heavens. Water was already present. We assumed that. Number 2 in chapter 1 is firmament. Number 2 in chapter 2 was man. Number 3 in chapter 1 is dry land. Number 3 in chapter 2 is the Garden of Eden and other vegetation, or just vegetation. Number 4 in chapter 1 is vegetation. Number 4 in chapter 2 was cattle and birds. And number 5 in chapter 1 where the stars were created. And number 5 in chapter 2 was woman, created from man.
Right.
And then in chapter 1, we have number 6, the sun and the moon was created. And number 7, the sea creatures and birds were created. Number 8, the cattle and insects. And number 9, finally, man was created, but male and female were created at the same time.
Okay, so can you guys have a discussion about what this means? What do we see, and then what does it mean? Can we have a discussion about that?
Gross disparities, no similarities whatsoever, and that makes me question both chapter 1 and chapter 2. It's like, why? The recording of it is not really trustworthy.
Based upon what assumption? Because when we go back to chapter 1, when we look at chapter 1, I gotta stop the share and share it again. When we look at chapter 1, sorry, give me 1 second. So now this takes us back to the issue. What beginning is this talking about?
Right, exactly. So if we're gonna, continue our discussion from yesterday, we're talking about when there was water on the earth, all over the earth, and there was no form, and it's kind of like a muddy existence. That would be the flood. And so all of those things that had existed before had to be replenished. So the earth had to be established and separated from the water. Vegetation had to be replanted. Well, the stars and the sun and the moon would have still been in the heavens, but we were told they were created after the flood. And then sea creatures and birds would have been replenished. The cattle would have been replenished, and men and women would have been replenished.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were told to be fruitful and multiply and have dominion, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm. What if there was a flood with darkness, right? When it storms, there's darkness, right?
I was wondering about that. Just now, I was like, wow, I wonder if it was dark when it was flooding.
Mm-hmm. Because what's going to happen when, let's say, you have massive
The sun is going to be blocked.
sun is going to be blocked. There's going to be dust and dirt going up. You know, it's going to be.
I mean, rain is going to, you know, you're not going to be able to see because the rain is so heavy.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And also, what would happen with the when the storm started to recede, things calm down, what's the first thing you're going to see?
Light.
What's the next thing you might see when you
The
start?
rainbow.
Huh?
The rainbow.
Yeah. You'll see light. Could you then start seeing stars?
Yeah.
Does the dry land appear when the flood recedes?
Yeah. Dry land, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Vegetation start to grow again?
Mm. Yes.
Right? And these are already in the water, well, the sea creatures, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now remember what we learned about what the giants were doing.
Right.
Remember?
Yeah. Angels going to the
Jubilees. Let me see if I can
Say
find
that
the Jubilees. Remember
angels going to the women.
Yeah. And what else did they do? Every desire of the what?
Their imagination.
Yeah.
The heart was evil continually.
Mm-hmm.
And they sinned against what?
Sinned against.
Yeah.
Can we read Jubilee?
Animals. Oh. Mm-hmm.
Can we read Jubilee 21 through 25?
It's chapter 7.
Yeah, Jubilees chapter 7. Here we are, Jubilees chapter 7. Chapter 7 here, and then 21 through 25 here. Can we read that? Can you guys see it?
Nope.
Putting it up, I can't see it. I'm looking at my Bible.
No, here we are. I thought I was sharing it. Can you guys see it now?
No, not yet. Here we go. Okay, for owing to these three things came the flood upon the earth, namely, owing to the fornication wherein the watchers against the law of their ordinances went a-whoring after the daughters of men, and took themselves wives of all which they chose, and they made the beginning of uncleanness. And they begat sons, the Nephilim, and they were all unalike, and they devoured one another. And the giants slew the Nephil, and the Nephil slew the Eljo, and the Eljo mankind, and one man another. And everyone sold himself to work iniquity, and to shed much blood, and the earth was filled with iniquity. And after this they sinned against the beasts, birds, and all that moves and walks on the earth. And much blood was shed on the earth, and every imagination and desire, and desire of man imagined vanity and evil continually. And the Lord destroyed everything from off the face of the earth because of the wickedness of their deeds, and because of the blood which they had shed in the midst of the earth. He destroyed everything. And we were left, I and you, my sons, and everything that entered with us into the ark. And behold, I see your works before me, that ye do not walk in righteousness. From the path of destruction ye have begun to walk, and ye are parting one from another, and are envious one of another. And so it comes that ye are not in harmony, my sons, each with his brother. 27.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, let's read 27 too.
For I see, and behold, the demons have begun their seductions against you and against your children. And now I fear on your behalf that after my death ye will shed the blood of men upon the earth, and that ye too will be destroyed from the face of the earth.
Okay, so you guys see that? So they sinned against the beast and the birds. They were involved in genetic engineering and sex with these animals, and you know, all kind of things. This is what accounts for the what is it called? The paleontology. The
Paleontology?
Yeah, for the dinosaurs and all of that other stuff that we see in the records.
Right.
The fossil record. Yeah, that's what I mean. The fossil record.
Right.
The fossil.
Yeah,
record.
The fallen angels created all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Some different flesh together.
So when we look at Genesis chapter 6, yeah, I think it's chapter 6. We see that the giants were in the earth before and after the flood, right?
Right.
Stan, can you read verse 2 through where's the verse that says the giants were in the flood before, in the earth before and after?
Go back up to 1. It came to pass that when again to multiply on the face of the daughters were born unto them, and the sons of God saw the daughters that they were fair and wise, and he said, the spirit of strive, I will not strive with man. And there, 4 verse. And there were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that were sons born, when the sons of God came unto the daughters of men, and they bore or bare children with them. The same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown.
Right, and these would be the rulers of the earth to this day. People have this DNA.
Yeah, they hide it up in the blue blood.
So,
you know, every president, from George Washington to even to Trump, they're all kin.
Oh yeah.
They share the same DNA, and with the royal family in England, they all share the same DNA. As a matter of fact, they trace Queen Elizabeth's DNA back to King Tut.
Wow.
That royal blood. You know, they were the first. Him and his father, they were the ones with the R-shaped heads that sat on them, became pharaohs with those long head shapes.
So when we think about what this deity did in chapter 1, let's go back and review that. Chapter. Okay, and it said, and this deity said, let the earth bring forth living creature after its kind. Might these be the hybrids that we see today?
Yeah, right.
The cow, the chicken, all of those things. Might they have done it through genetic engineering or just through sexual relations, right? The dinosaurs. And this man, this is clearly not the man who was made in chapter 2. How do we know? The male and the female of this man were created at the same time.
And they were spoken into existence.
And they were spoken into existence, right. Created at the same time and spoken into existence. And they were made in the likeness and the image of those disembodied spirits. So we can identify this man based upon his characteristics, which would be observable in his history, right? Based upon the command that he was given, which was to conquer and subdue all living things, right? And here's what we know: replenish means to do again, restock.
Right.
Restock the giants. Restock the hybrids. Subdue means to conquer. Remember we looked at this stuff? Conquer, subjugate, have a dominion means supremacy. Have supremacy, right?
So why don't we have giants on the earth today?
Because they have assimilated into the human genome.
Yeah.
So this is where you would have a person with an admixture of the Neanderthal or the Denisovian. So you'd have a portion of human DNA and 2 to 7, 14% Denisovian or Neanderthal.
So will we consider a 7-foot person a giant?
No, because it has nothing to do with the height. It's the genome.
Okay.
It's the genome, the DNA content. That's what makes you human. So basically,
they've breeded out. They've been breeded out. All these thousands.
Not breeded out. They're still here.
Giants.
Well, they supposedly just killed one and over there in Israel. I mean,
Afghanistan.
He was. They said had a smell that was so awful when he came out of the cage. Now, according to them, I don't know. I didn't see it. I saw what they say was laying on the ground after they blew his face off.
But see, sis, remember, it's not about the height. It's the genome. It's your genetics, your DNA.
No, but I asked, why don't we have giants today, like the Nephilim, not the Nephilim.
Yeah, I understand, but it's not the height. It's not the height.
But what were they? I thought we were discussing that yesterday.
Yeah, I know they're supposed to return.
Yeah, no, it's the genome. It's the DNA.
They are supposed to return before the end.
So the DNA, like for example, the DNA will express itself in what's called a phenotype. The giant could have been, remember the initial giants were like 450 feet?
Right.
And then as the generations went by, they got smaller. But they're still giants regardless of their height, right? Because it's the genome.
Okay. But I'm just saying, I was talking about the height. Why?
But why aren't they as tall as they are?
We see the height. How did that get breeded out?
Oh, because they're mixing with human. And not only that, but a hybrid, each generation of a hybrid will deteriorate. They can't survive long term. So the hybrid is shoddy DNA. So every time you make it, something else goes wrong. The next generation, something else goes wrong. That's why a lot of the hybrids have a lot of, y'all ever notice that a lot of white people, well, let me not say that, but a lot of the other people, they have a lot of genetic illnesses compared to us. That's because their DNA is different.
I know in order for them to continue, they have to continue to help within their race. Because anytime they breed with anything else, they are eliminating themselves.
Well, there's a genetic principle that
their gene is recessive.
Anytime a hybrid reproduces, the next generation is always more sick.
Yeah.
Generation before it. The errors in the DNA code multiply with the generation. So that's why you see that's another reason why you see the hybrid or the giant getting smaller.
So, okay, yourself, based on everything that you have just taught, that we have just read, is the problem, is the problem with what Moses wrote, or is it what we are reading? The reason why this exists is because of what the illustrators the interpreters did.
Well, I'm going to show you right now. Well, better yet, I'll show you right now.
Because I mean, just based on that, how am I supposed to trust anything that's in Scripture?
Well, I'm going to show you right now.
All right.
What I'm going to show you is what the scholars have said about the matter that you just mentioned. And that is that Genesis chapter 1 was inserted into the scripture during or after Babylonian captivity. So I'm going to pull that up. I'm searching.
Okay.
Give me 1 second. Let me try to find it.
I have the same concern, Stan. It's like if they went to this trouble to deceive with chapter 1 and John 1 and the New Testament and Revelations, and you know what can you believe?
Well, if
what
you're
else is
suspicious, when we develop the habit of being suspicious when we read, we can easily identify what is an insertion and what's not.
Well, I think that's what, Dan, it said that the Holy Spirit will lead you to understand.
Yeah.
And to rightly divide the word.
Well, without that, I mean, I guess we will be hopeless without the Ruach, Well,
it also says, lean not unto thine own understanding,
right.
Acknowledge him in all thy ways, and he will direct
Acknowledge him. Right. And he will
be led on the right path. I mean,
when you talk like that, for me, listening to you guys, I'm hearing religion.
I'm quoting the scriptures. I'm not quoting religion. I'm quoting scriptures. Lean not unto thine own understanding. That's what the Most High says to me. Don't lean on your own understanding. Acknowledge me, and I'm going to direct your path. So my path ended up here, and I'm now deciphering chapter 1 and chapter 2.
Right, but what is he telling us to do when he says acknowledge me? What is he telling us to do?
See, acknowledge to me is like you just put your whole trust in the Most High.
You're putting your faith and trust in him.
I wake up, I think about him, what to do, where to go, all day. All my blessings come from the Most High. Yeah. What am I going to do tomorrow? What am I going to do next week?
But what did the Most High tell us through Moses?
Oh, keep the commandments.
He said that salvation is based upon what?
Being obedient.
You said it right the first time. Salvation is based upon us following the instructions, right?
Yeah.
So that takes action.
Yeah.
You guys see what I'm trying to get at?
Yes, but I'm just saying that every day I'm acknowledging the Most High. I'm attempting to acknowledge the Most High. When I study
do we rely on our own ability, or do we
cry out to the Most High?
Or rely on the Most High?
Yeah, you have to. Because if we rely on ourselves, you're not going to do what you're supposed to do. You have to ask. I mean, me personally, I don't have any discipline.
I mean, I'm already guilty of breaking.
I'm asking the Most High. I ask the Most High, help me, lead me and guide me. Even in what I'm eating, it's like, help me to make the right decisions. Tell me what else to eat besides eggs and cheese.
Can I just show you guys one thing, and then we'll come back to the topic, or
yeah. Well, let's not forget about them Anunnaki though. I want to get into that.
Yeah,
right.
Let's do that first then, because
finish. Let's finish. And then.
Yeah, because I want to. Okay, so we kind of started with this the other day, yesterday.
Yeah. Mhm.
So this is the Enuma Elish, the Babylonian epic of creation. Okay, this says it has a full text. Okay, so the Enuma Elish, also known as the Seven Tablets of Creation, is the Mesopotamian creation myth whose title derived from the opening lines of the piece "When on High." This is also how "in the beginning" is translated. This is alternative. If you research this, is also in John 1 and Genesis 1, "When on High." All of the tablets containing the myth are found in this location in the library here, in other sites. This is the date, right? So let's move down. Okay, as Marduk, the champion of the young gods in their war against Tiamat, is of Babylonian origin, the Samaritan Anunnaki, or that sound familiar? Inky. Okay, we didn't get to
the word En is Lord. The word En means Lord. Ki means earth, Lord of earth.
Okay, thanks. The Anunnaki is coming somewhere in this.
Yeah. Well, Enki and Enlil are brothers, and they are the sons of Anu, who is the king.
So, since you know about this, how about if you read it? You
All right.
Like you had some background on this.
Yeah. Marduk is Enki's son, who is the Egyptian god Ra. Also, the Viking god Thor.
Okay.
All right, but let's go. As Marduk, the champion of the young gods, in their war against Tiamat, is the Babylonian origin of Sumerian Enki or Enlil, the god of air, or the god of heaven, which equates Satan, because Satan is the principalities and the powers of the air. Enlil is though to have played the major role in the original version of the story. The copy found at Asher has the gods of Ashar in the main role, as was the customs and the cities of Mesopotamia. The gods of each city was always considered the best and most powerful. Marduk, which is also supposed to be the face on Mars, the god of Babylon, only figures as prominently as he does in the story because most of the copies found are rare from Babylonian scribes. Even so, Ea does still play an important part in Babylonian versions of the Enuma Elish by creating human beings.
That's chapter 1.
Enki and his sister, they tried first creating a human from Enki's gene, and he mixed with the species that was here on Earth at the time that was not intelligent, but he tried to impregnate that, but every child that came forth didn't make proper sounds as was supposed to. So what they did was they took the gene from a male species and put it in Enki's sister, and she brought it to term of 9 months. And when it born, it made the proper sounds. It cried and it made audible sounds. So they knew, and they called it Adam Mu or Adam Na. But the story, one of the eldest, if not the oldest in the world, concerns the birth of the gods and the creation of the universe and human beings. In the beginning, there was only undifferential water swirl in chaos. You know, that's what we were saying, that the earth was just full of water. Out of this swirl, the waters divided into sweet, fresh water known as the god Apsu, a sultry, bitter water, the goddess Tiamat. once differentiate, well, in the union of these two entities, gave birth to younger gods.
Keep that in mind. Gave birth to younger gods, because these generations of the younger gods have a meaning. So let's continue.
Okay. These younger gods, however, were extremely loud, troubling, and sleep of Apsu at night, distracting him from his work by day. This is talking about planets. Okay. This is before Earth is, well, upon the advice of the vizier Muma, Apsu decided to kill the younger gods. Tiamat, hearing of their plans, warned the elder sons, Enki, sometimes Ea, and he puts Apsu to sleep and kills him. From Apsu remains Enki created. Where did it go?
Here.
Okay. Apsu put to sleep. From Apsu remained Enki created his home. Tiamat, once the supporter of the younger gods, was enraged that they had killed her mate. She consulted with the gods, Gingu, who advised her to make war on the younger gods. Tiamat rewards Gingu with the tablet of destiny, which legitimized the rule of the gods and controlled the fates. And he wears them proudly as a breastplate. With Gingu as her champion, Tiamat summoned the forces of chaos and created 11 horrible monsters to destroy her children. Ea, Enki, and the younger gods fight against Tiamat fruitfully until from among them emerged the champion, Marduk, who swore he would defeat Tiamat. Marduk defeated Gingu and killed Tiamat by shooting her with an arrow which split her in two. From her eyes flowed the water of the Tigris and the Euphrates River. Out of Tiamat's corpse, Marduk created the heavens and the earth, and he appointed gods to various duties and bind Tiamat, even the creature, to his feet as a trophy. To much adulation from the other gods before setting their images in his new home, he also takes the tablet of destiny from Genghis. This is legitimizing his reign. You know, they're saying that basically the planetoids, that the planets that exist, that's what he created. There was a planet which Mars was a moon, and this planet was I'm trying to think of the name of the planet. It's pretty much Tiamat, but y'all know about Nibiru, right? The planet where the Anunnaki come from.
Yeah.
Okay. Nibiru is said that it has an orbit around our sun that takes 3,600 years to complete. Nibiru has its own star. They saying our sun has a binary sun, and that is called Nemesis. It's a red dwarf star. Around that red dwarf star is Nibiru, 4 other planets, and like 7 moons. And it's supposed to be on its way back around, coming between Earth and Venus and around the sun. When this happens, is supposed to bring the end to this era that we know for the last days. This particular event is recorded in the Bible, and the name of the planet is called Wormwood in Revelations. I believe it's chapter 17, I'm not sure. But this is supposed to bring about the last days. They're telling me I better move to higher ground because the East Coast is going to be covered with a tsunami of 600-foot waves to 100 feet inland. The East Coast and the West Coast and all the coastal boundaries of every country is going to be destroyed when that happens. I don't know. Okay. Where we left off at. This is an interesting story. You know, the Anunnaki are portrayed as aliens when actually they are fallen angels. They are gods, these many gods. But today, our country want to call them aliens. I don't know how much y'all believe or whatever, but when it says that God is going, the Father is going to return, or that Son is going to return on clouds, they're saying those are chariots, which are also spaceships.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So a lot of people are going to be confused because what we are expecting is not going to happen. Meaning people just ain't going to come out of the sky. You know, these angels are coming on vehicles, are coming in vehicles. But we got the difference between Lord, our God, and the Anunnaki when they come, because they're coming soon, according to everything that is written. When you compare the story of Gilgamesh to the flood, you can lay them both side by side and compare. When I just got my master's, I had to take a class on it, where we compared scripture to scripture. And I will say this also, where they say that these writings are older than the Bible, they're not talking about the Apocrypha. They're just talking about the 66 books, the books of Moses, because the books of Enoch are older than the Bible. They were written well before the books of Enoch was written by Enoch well before Moses was born. Even the book of Job was written before Moses was born. Even they say Moses wrote the book of Job. Job is a much older book. So I believe that the book of Enoch, which talks a lot about the Nomi Elish, is compared to it, was written actually before it. But this is supposed to be real. These they came down and they created. I guess yourself, you're leaning that they were the creators of that man in chapter 1. I can pretty much buy that and accept that.
Question. So just based on what you said about Job being written before Moses was born.
Okay.
How was he a righteous man, and on what was he judged as a righteous man if he didn't have the laws from Moses?
The same way Noah was considered a righteous man. The same way Abraham was considered a righteous man. Abraham didn't have the law. He had variations of the law. I mean, aspect of the law, what was passed down from Adam to us, although we didn't have the law in terms of the 10 Commandments or the 614, in Abraham's day, they understood the Levitical law of marriage before it was written down. Abraham, whether he forgot Hebrew, according to Jubilee, Yah taught him Hebrew. Even though his relative before Eber was the only one that kept speaking Hebrew after the Tower of Babel.
That was in chapter 12, I think 25.
Say what now?
I think that's in Jubilees 12, 25.
Right, I think so.
Can we go back? Can we go back to this, y'all, so we can finish?
Yeah.
Hey,
I
Judy,
thought it
can
was
you
still
start
part of
reading from
it.
here? Because I want to get into the comparison so that it's clear.
Okay, of the new, okay.
Judy,
Found among,
Judy, can
found among,
stand.
oh, you want her to read?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I want Judy to read from now, so we have something.
Okay,
Just
good.
change your pace. Can you start from here, sis?
Found among the ruins was a Babylonian creation story referred to today as Enuma Elish. It is a story about a highly dysfunctional divine family engaged in a major power struggle at the dawn of time. The heart of the story is where the god Marduk kills his nemesis, Tiamat, and then fillets her body in two, making the sky out of one half and the earth out of the other. Thus Marduk claims.
I'm sorry, y'all. I just want to say this is where the firmament is taking place. This is the firmament. So continue.
Then Marduk claims the throne as the high god in the pantheon. Scholars have termed Enuma Elish as Babylonian Genesis. The reason is that both stories share some concepts that were immediately apparent. In both stories, matter exists when creation begins. Similar to Enuma Elish, Genesis 1 describes God ordering chaos, not creating something out of nothing. Number 2, darkness precedes the creative acts. In Enuma Elish, the symbol of chaos is the goddess Tiamat, who personifies the sea. Genesis refers to the deep. The Hebrew word is tehom, which is linguistically related to Tiamat. In both stories, light exists before the creation of the sun, moon, and stars. In both stories, there is a division of the waters above and below, with a barrier holding back the upper waters. And the last bullet, the sequence of creation is similar, including the division of waters, dry land, luminaries, and humanity, all followed by rest.
Did y'all get that? I'm sorry to interrupt you. So over here is talking about the firmament, right? The waters, and this is the firmament, okay? Followed by rest. What happened on the seventh day?
Rest.
Rest. So that's what we call Sabbath right now, right?
Sabbath, right.
Okay. So the Sabbath is in Babylon, has a Babylonian origin. Now, scholars will say that our Sabbath is different from theirs. But when you look at the principle of us being set apart, we have to consider what this means. Okay, so everybody can do whatever they want to do with that. I'm just showing the information. So can you continue, Sam?
Okay, but I have a question then. If the Sabbath rest was given in the Babylonian creation and not in chapter 2, why is it then part of the commandments in Exodus that we are to obey?
Well, what have we been talking about? I'm going to throw it back at you. What have we been talking about being skeptical, analytical?
That's right. That's my skepticism now.
I can attempt to answer for.
What does Jeremiah tell us?
Yeah, so like, but we were talking about keeping the commandments of Moses, and
so could they have been altered? Does Jeremiah say? Does he say that the commandments will be preserved perfectly? Or does he tell us, does he warn us that they're lying?
Yeah, they're lies. They've inserted lies.
Right. So it's up to us to analyze this and to be able to identify the deceit. You guys follow me?
Yeah. Just that was a question. Go ahead.
Okay, so but the people who are unwilling to do this, we can see how this deceit is not here for nothing, right?
Right.
They're deceiving people to make you a slave. That's what this is about.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so let's continue.
So it says scholars knew they were onto something, and it led to some predictable questions in both academic and popular circles. Maybe Genesis isn't history at all, they thought, but just another story like Enuma Elish. In fact, maybe Genesis is just a later Hebrew version of this older Babylonian story. One can't really blame people for asking these questions, given the bombshell that just fell on them. Up to this point, Genesis 1 was unique. Now we have a previously unknown Babylonian myth that is strikingly similar to Scripture. At the time, many scholars thought that the author of Genesis 1 borrowed material from Enuma Elish. This led to the Bible and Babel controversy. Babel is Hebrew for Babylon. In fact, scholars commonly thought that Babylonian culture was the source for all ancient religions, including Christianity, Pan-Babylonianism.
Can I add something though?
Yeah.
Wasn't Moses born before the Babylonian conquest?
He was.
So then Moses could not have copied the information if Moses never was in Babylon.
Well, yeah, that's true. But that's kind of like the point. I want to show y'all an article where they actually show you what's similar. That they actually show you like the 6 generations of deities represent the 6 days of creation. So that, yeah, they do what did I do with that? Let me try to find it.
Stan, what if the writings attributed to Moses are still questionable?
What? Thanks, baby. Yeah. I mean, that's why we're sitting here discussing this now, because
see, were we not enslaved using these documents?
Yeah.
So
what? Say that again.
I said, were we not enslaved through these documents? Didn't they use these to enslave us?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, because now we were not taught to read. I mean, the only thing we know about the Bible is what they told.
Exactly.
Because we were not permitted to read the Bible.
But they had to codify it, right? So that everybody could be on the same page who pushed it. The white people who pushed it had to be on the same page. They codified it in Scripture. So Jeremiah 8:8 tells us that, but you know, whether people can accept that or not is another story. But we are responsible for finding out where these lies are. And Jeremiah says it. There's an article, y'all, I'm trying to find it, that has all of the similarities in it. And I had it bookmarked and I can't find it. Let me try it again first, a second. No, that's not it. Let me see. Try another article. So we're responsible of searching this out for ourselves. Oh, I know where it's. Other bookmarks, maybe that's where it's at. Yeah. I thought I saved it. Maybe it's in Hebrew. Let me try to find it, y'all, because it is real nice. It has all the parallels.
I know they are, a lot of people are uncertain that the Bible was copied from this information.
What'd you say?
There are a lot of people that are uncertain that since this information supposedly was written before the Bible, that Moses and the writers of the Bible, of the Old Testament, they copied all of this information from the Enuma Elish.
Mm.
You know,
okay, here we go. Here we go. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, it's all right. Go ahead.
But it's the scholars have. I'll show you guys an article in the dictionary where the scholars have. They already said that the Enuma Elish added after Babylonian captivity.
Right.
But Judy, can you finish reading this one?
Sure. One of the two Bible creation myths was probably derived from the much older Mesopotamian creation myth, Enuma Elish.
Can I interrupt you for 1 second, sis?
Say that again?
Can I interrupt you for 1 second?
Go ahead.
So this Enuma Elish is probably an accurate account of what happened. And the Babylonians and others recorded it in their history, but it wasn't added to the scripture until after, during or after Babylonian captivity. Y'all follow me?
Okay.
So they had it in their record and then they inserted it in ours.
When they got control.
When they got control. Yeah. So it's
the victor always writes the history, right?
Yeah. So can we?
Well, either when they got control, they copied ours and then told a lie.
Well, what it appears from everything we've read and your comments, Stan, it appears that the account is real, it's true, and the other cultures copied it. They made a historical record of it, and then when we went into captivity or after, they added that account into Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
So can we continue from here, Judy?
Sure. So the 6 days of creation in the Genesis myth parallel the 6 generations of gods in the Enuma Elish myth in type of God. It doesn't make sense. In type of God in Enuma Elish that is God of the earth, to what is created or happens on the corresponding day in Genesis, that is, the waters are gathered together to expose dry land. Marduk, the 6th generation god, makes man as a slave so the other gods can rest.
Yeah, they rested, not us.
God Elohim makes man on the 6th day, and he himself rests. The Enuma Elish 6 generations of gods. Tiamat and Apsu is the 1st generation who created Lahamu, the 2nd generation who created Kishar, the 3rd generation who created Anu, the 4th generation who created E, the 5th generation who created Marduk, the 6th generation. To read the entire Enuma Elish creation myth, click here.
Okay, so does this sound familiar, Anu?
Anu, the prefix for Anu.
Of Enki and the grandfather of Marduk.
Okay, so Anu.
Anu served as king for 36,000 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to find.
They say Enki is still alive today. And he's living among us.
So the scriptures, thou shalt have no other gods before me.
Anunnaki, there you go.
There you go. Yep, there it is. That's what I was trying to find for you.
Yep, Anunnaki.
Y'all see that? This is
Akkadians. The Akkadians are the Anunnaki. The Akkadians was a natural enemy to Israel.
So who are the Anunnaki? Aren't this also a race of giants in the Bible?
They're giants. The Anunnaki are giants, but they're also they're gods. They are aliens from a different planet that came here seeking gold, because they use gold, the powder gold, to put in the atmosphere of their planet, because their planet was getting too cold. They needed a hotter planet, and it was getting too cold. So they needed gold, or it was getting too hot, and they needed gold to block the sun rays or something like that. But see, the Anunnaki are also supposed to be reptiles, the reptors. They're supposed to be, what's this word? Because see, Enlil is supposed to be the snake in the garden, the brother of Enki, Enlil. And he has scales on his body, and he appears as a snake, and he's also called the dragon in the Bible. Enki is called Elohim, and Enlil is called Yahweh. So
right. So now remember, that was a point I was just about to bring out.
Right.
Yahweh is Strong's number what?
430 or something like that. What is it?
368.
So 368. Okay.
So what does that tell us?
Well, I don't know. I've always been leery of the word Yahweh and those that use it, and the modern ones. They're the ones that come up with that mess. So.
Right.
Because
Yahweh, but who did you just say Yahweh is? I mean, who did you just say?
Yahweh is supposed to be Enlil.
Enlil.
And Enki is supposed to be Elohim. Any god with the EL is supposed to be Enki.
So what does that tell us? What does that tell us? These names, these names, could those be the Most High? When people call on YHWH, are they calling on the Most High?
I don't think they're calling on the Most High. I think they're calling on the other gods.
Right. So when people say Yahuwah, Yahweh, Jehovah, and any derivation of it, that like people who call on those various names for the Messiah figure, that's what I'm actually calling.
This McAfee thing, is that from you?
Huh?
My screen got a McAfee thing on it. I don't have McAfee.
McAfee?
No, it's not him.
It's talking about various spywares and stuff. Something's coming up on my screen.
No, that's on your screen.
Yeah, no, I don't have no McAfee. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. And see, I done lost y'all.
So you said Enki, right? It's Enki who's supposed to be Yahweh. Is that what you said?
Enlil.
Enlil is supposed to be. Enki is a associating became now. Let me see. I'm trying to, because I got it confused, but I know that Yahweh is one of these deities.
Yeah, Yahweh is Enlil, the brother of Enki. Elohim is Enki. You see what I'm saying?
Let me see.
Wow.
Okay, so yeah, I see what you're saying. So if that's the case, when people call on Yahweh or Yahuwah, they're calling on those Babylonian deities. So it's through a critical analysis like we're doing right now that people can actually find that out.
Yeah.
And stop calling on those names.
Have you changed the screen? Because I don't see y'all anymore. All I see is myself.
You have to slide the screen, slide your page.
Slide my page where?
Probably to the right, and then his screen should pop up.
Is my camera's not working right? I can't click it off. It got an arrow. Something happened. I don't know what happened.
Move your screen.
I can't move it. You just turn sideways.
You have to move your screen.
When I saw that McAfee sign, some kind of...
Did you open up another page?
No, I was just sitting here. Some kind of malware is trying to attack my computer.
There's another page with stand for and no D on it. Another person just popped in. So that's why I was asking if you came in on another computer.
Well, I got knocked out and then I came back in. When I came back in, this is the way the screen was. When I clicked that malware off my computer,
they're showing you as 2 pages. You have
yeah,
you see,
what I'm gonna do is check out and come back in.
you see Stanford Montgomery. If you have another Zoom on a phone or another page open.
Right, it's telling me something about a phone.
Yeah, it says stand for.
I don't use my phone for Zoom.
Okay.
So I'm gonna check out and come back in.
Okay.
I'm just letting you know there's another page open with your first part of your name, stand for.
He left out, sis.
Stand for left now, so that left, but you're still here.
Yeah.
That extra page is gone.
Okay, I wasn't seeing it anyway. I mean,
You're still here now, Stanford.
I hear y'all, but I don't see you.
It's okay. The second page that opened up with your name on it is gone. So whatever you did, you signed that out. You might want to sign out this page now with Stanford Montgomery.
Right.
And again. Yeah. So sign up your first page.
Yeah.
hey, Stanford, can you give me that name one more time, of that deity?
Which name?
The one who is Yahweh.
Enlil. E-N-L-I-L.
Enlil.
Enlil.
I think it was spelled E-N-L-I-L.
Yeah.
Enlil. I have 2 accounts open. You didn't?
Well, yeah, I see, because it came back in the same way, phone call. And I don't know what's going on.
So you didn't really exit out.
Not yet. Yeah. Let me get it. Let me figure out.
Route. Exit out of your browser.
I can't even exit. Hold on.
You should be able to exit. There you go. You left one. Okay, click again.
But I still hear you. So
Click
I need
again.
to come out all together. Oh, there we go.
What did you do?
I exit out everything. I just exit out. Just kept exiting out.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know.
Your computer is a little weird.
The devil's busy. That's all I know.
Right. You know.
Too much about him.
Right. Just carry on. Carry on.
Yeah. Did you get that?
Okay. So ready for
E-N-L-I-L.
Yeah, I'm looking at an article now, but I don't know if it's any good yet. So what I take away from the Enuma Elish story. Well, let me rephrase that. What this means when I look at the assertion of Genesis chapter 1, who these entities are. Like, for example, in the book of the Giants? I'm going to try to find it. The book of the Giants shows that Ahia, you know, the deity that a lot of Israelites are calling on.
Shahaya.
Yeah, Ahia, he's identified as a giant in the book of the Giants. Let me find that scripture real quick. So what that's saying to me, what I get from this is that anytime somebody's calling on a name for a deity, it's trouble. All of these names are
so the Most High is best just to leave all these names alone.
Right, exactly. That's why I just say the Most High.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's why I've been saying the Most High in the last couple of years. Yeah. Because there's
but doesn't that still Who is the Most High?
No, because he's known through history. That's why he gives us the feast
He is
days.
the Most High.
Yeah.
He's higher than all other.
Everything.
He's the Most High.
Yep. And that's probably why he doesn't have a name.
I guess that would be safe, because I know, I mean, in my spirit, I know we got to be careful of these names we are invoking.
Right.
You know, so I guess even the ones I think that are good names, we got to be careful. Even the ones I break down in Hebrew, their meaning and what we're saying when we say it.
I describe my creator is the Most High. I don't even say the Most High God, because God is generic.
Okay.
The Most High is the most.
But I heard you say higher.
Who, me? No.
Not you? You say you're higher? Oh.
Say it again.
The Most High.
Oh,
I say the Most High.
You know who? Somebody did a video. I'm gonna find it on YouTube so I can show y'all. Watchman and Deborah did a video on the Book of the Giants. I'm gonna find it. Watchman and Deborah did a video on it. It's in that video.
Oh, you know, Stan, when I was reading, I might have said Lord Yahweh.
Yeah, because I remember hearing that.
Yeah, I might have said Lord Yahweh, because, I was used to calling the Most High Yahweh instead of saying God or the Lord. I'd say Yahweh.
I mean, it works in the Tetragrammaton in terms of just adding the between, you know, for Yah, the the H, and the Yah after the W, Yahweh.
Yeah.
You gotta look up 1180, Strong's 1180. Look that up.
Right.
Look up Strong's 1180. It's gonna tell you who YHWH is.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Matter of fact, let me show it. But I'm trying to find the
I'm still looking, so.
Strong's 1180.
$17.
Wow.
6.
Whoa, wow.
You saw it?
Ball.
Yeah.
All right, see that?
Mm-hmm.
So the YHWH is
But where's the YHWH? I don't see the YHWH.
It's in Hebrew.
You see that?
Okay, that's in the moderate.
Well, it doesn't. Remember, modern Hebrew just replaces the Phoenician characters.
Yeah, I understand. I'm just trying. I'm not that familiar with the modern.
Okay, yeah, and so Yah is a contraction of Yahweh or Jah, YHWH. It's just a contraction.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it says my ball for Yah.
Symbolic name for Yah. Now, if you look in the paperback version, it'll say a symbolic name for Jehovah.
Right. Yeah. But that's Yahweh, right?
That's Strong's number 1180, right?
And this is Yahweh, yeah. And they spell Yahweh with the E.
Well, no, remember there's no
Jehovah.
There's no E. Stand there.
Yeah.
Stan, look at Strong's number 1130.
Okay, 1130. You don't have it up. I'll look at it on my book. Hold on.
I'm sorry, not 1130, but 3068.
3068.
So here you'll see it. Can you guys see my screen?
Putting it up on the screen?
Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
So you see 3068? 3068?
Yeah, that's when 3068 is when they changing the Y to a Va.
Right, but remember.
And they created Jehovah.
But look at the original word here. See, look at the original word.
Right.
The Yod-Heh Wah-Heh.
Yeah, Yod-Heh Wah-Heh.
So here you are, and then this is the transliteration. How they're translating using a V.
Mm-hmm.
Right, instead of the Y.
Right. Okay, so this is the character or the same deity in Strong's
Yahweh.
1180.
80, right.
1180,
Same.
is it Bali? See, and they're telling you, Lords. Now, if you go through the Strong's, the paperback copy, and you follow all of the Strong's numbers, what you're going to find is that it specifically identifies Baal, not a human master.
Right. We did that, El, in the class.
That's right. We did do it. Yeah. So all of these names, let's look up name. See, I'm going to read it out of the Strong's, okay? I want y'all to see this.
What, Shem?
Yeah. Do you know the Strong's number? I don't remember it.
No, not offhand. No.
Let me find it. I don't remember the Strong's number for name. But I want you guys to pay close attention to this, and what you see is going to surprise you. Because if you haven't learned how to use the Strong's, you won't see the message here. So it's 11. I'm sorry, Strong's number 8034. So let me turn to 8034. This is Hebrews 8034. So here we go. This is the Hebrew word for Strong's, right? This is what it says. Strong's number 8034. Okay, a primitive word. Okay, perhaps rather from Strong's number 7760, through the idea of definite and conspicuous position. It has a semicolon. Okay, it says compare Strong's.
Can you share that page, please?
I'm reading it from a book, sis. I have to take a picture.
Pardon.
Okay. Well, let me see how. Let me see. I don't know how it's going to look in the online version.
You said Strong's number 3084, right?
Strong's number 8034.
8034.
I'm going to see but I'm going to pull it up now. Let's see.
Shem.
See, this is only abbreviated. It's just a summary, so it's not much information here. It just says a name. So this is a good example. You guys see that? It just says a name, right?
Right.
Now watch what it has in the paperback version. Okay, this is another way it's translated.
NASB translation.
In another Bible. Okay,
New American
the Brown Driver Briggs, okay? So, but watch when I read it out of the paperback. This is why you have to know how these tools are to be used. Watch this, okay? So you see it's nothing, just a name, okay? Now out of the paperback. This is what it says. It says here, in appellation. So we got to look up what appellation means, right? In appellation, comma, as a mark or memorial of individuality. So Stan, what's a mark? What's the biblical definition of mark? I know you know it.
Sign.
You're right. It's a sign, right? Or
right.
We're gonna look that up too. Okay. Yeah. So it says here in appellation, as a mark or memorial. Memorial, what is a historical record? These are legal terms, right?
Right.
Appellation and memorial, those are legal terms of individuality. So this is telling us is history, right? So let's continue. It has semicolon. Semicolon, by implication, honor, authority, character. Now that's the meaning. The Hebrew meaning. Now, when you know how to use the Strong's, what follows is how it's translated, okay? How it's translated is different from the meaning. translator can say whatever he wants to say, right?
Mm-hmm.
He can say whatever he wants to say. So here's how it's translated. The first one, name, is translated as name 832 times.
Wow.
It's translated as renown 7 times, fame 4 times, famous 3 times, named as in past tense 3 times. Okay. And then in the commentary, so did you guys see that? The first I read was the actual meaning of the Hebrew word, which is appellation,
Mm-hmm.
memorial, a mark, or a memorial of individuality. So that's different from a name. Now let's look up what this means when we talk about a mark.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Oh, shoot. Let me just go to Strong's. Well, no, let's look at a dictionary because we're not looking at a Bible verse. For mark. But they use the word mark in certain Bibles to deal with the feast of unleavened bread and in Revelations, right? So here it says mark. No, that's not what. Okay, here we are as a verb too. Okay, here's what we're looking for.
Typical identification.
Right. Or identification. Okay. But now remember, this says a history, right? I'm sorry, memorial.
Memorial. Yeah. This can be applied to Cain, right?
King.
As mark.
He was given a mark.
Uh-huh.
He was given a mark and identification.
Right.
So here we're saying for a memorial, we're saying a statement of facts, especially as the basis of a petition, right? But there's when we look up the legal terms, there's much more to this word memorial. Let me see. Let's see. Black's Law Dictionary. Black's Law Dictionary. Okay, memorial, a petition or representation made by one or more individuals to a legislative body. When such an instrument is addressed to a court, it is called a petition. Let's go look at this. So the thing with these online dictionaries, a lot of times they only give you summaries.
Right.
So this has nothing. Let me see. I think I showed this before, and I need the Black's Law Dictionary. Let me see if I get an online version of Black's Law Dictionary.
There it is. It was right there.
Oh, really?
The second thing down. The PDF.
I don't see it.
You had it. It was in your drop down.
Oh, okay.
There.
There
Right
be an
there.
online version. There's an online version.
It's the second one.
Okay. Because I don't really want to download it. Black's. Okay.
You didn't want the PDF?
Okay. Yeah, I don't really want to download it.
You don't have to download it. You
Yeah,
can.
put it in your favorites, man.
Okay. Oh, here it is. Oh, so I see this is not user friendly.
It's like the 4th edition.
Oh, this is the 4th edition?
No, that's the 2nd edition.
Oh, I was about to say, well, I'm going to download it.
No. Go back to Go back to your Dropbox.
Okay.
Not Dropbox, to the...
Right here? This one?
No.
Oh,
Yes.
here.
No.
Okay, I see it. I see it.
Yeah.
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 But when you did it before, it did have PDF as well. This is not a PDF. This is something that you have to buy. Take off, there it is at the top right there.
Let me see that.
That's it.
Thank
Download
you.
that if you want to keep it.
I'm happy I got that.
Yeah.
Now I'll download the 4th edition.
Great to have.
So let me see. Okay, so it's going to take it a minute to download. But basically, memorial is a legal term that creates a legal, it memorializes a record or an event, and it holds weight in a court of law.
Mm-hmm. I'll be back.
Okay. Man, I'm glad I got this, man. Oh.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go online after and download it myself. I probably don't understand it, but
you know what? After all you got to do is just use it, and
yeah,
you start getting used to it because it is written in a real convoluted legalese. But you'll get used to it.
yeah.
Okay, let's see if I can find it. I don't have it. I know it's here because I've looked at it a million times. Oh, here we are, memorial. You see it?
Yeah, a document that presents to a legalizative body or to an executive by one or more individuals containing a petition or a representation of facts.
There you go. See that? The facts of what the Most High has done, his history. You see that?
Right. Right.
A legal document of facts that he's done through history that he preserved for us and told us to observe through our feast days. And what does he tell us in the concerning the Feast of Unleavened Bread? He said that when we observe the Feast of Unleavened Bread, it's a mark on our hand and on our forehead.
Right.
Marks show ownership. So when we got that mark on our right hand and our forehead, it shows that we're the property of the Most High.
Right. Right.
Right. Just like in Revelation, those people who are wicked, they get a mark, right?
Right. The mark of the beast. Yeah.
They get the mark of the beast. Shows ownership.
Right. That same mark that Cain got.
Yep. So here is very clear that when that Hebrew word that's translated as name actually means history, reputation, appellation. You see what I mean? The legal facts that document what the Most High has done.
Right. The historic, right. It just it means more than just a name, but it has to do with everything that can pertain or apply to the Most High. When he explained that when he explained, I guess I'm saying when he explained himself to Moses, it's not that Moses didn't know his name. Moses didn't know his character.
Mm-hmm.
So when he told him that, he was basically telling Moses about his character. Mm-hmm. When he was saying that I am who I am, or I am that I am, or I will be what I will be, basically he's talking about his character more so than just a name that he's known by.
That's
it's
right.
everything.
Yep. And then check out this second paragraph. It says in English, now you know the English law comes straight out of the Bible, right?
Right.
In English law, that which contains the particulars of a deed, so land, right, property,
Right.
etc., and is, and notice this, instrument registered, legal document,
Right.
registered, as in the case of the annuity, which must be registered, but it's a registered legal instrument. That's the point.
Right.
And then the third paragraph, in practice, a short note, abstract, memorandum, or rough draft of the what? Orders of the court.
Court.
From which the records thereof may at any time be fully made up. So this is it. Legal documents concerning the records of what the Most High has done. This is the power of the Most High's court, his reputation, his appellation.
Right.
So let me go up here to appellation, see if we can find appellation. Oh yeah, that's I once did a lesson on these names, but you know, Stan, this is hard stuff to tell people.
Well, yeah, I mean, because it's stuff that they don't know, we don't know, never been told, and actually it can be shaken. A person can be really shaken because your thoughts and the way you frame your thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it can shake the foundation of what you thought you know.
Mm-hmm. Let's see if we got appellation.
I mean, ever since I heard about the Anunnaki, I've been trying to find a proper way of incorporating it without, I guess, offending the Most High. Mm-hmm. Being caught up in, you know, I've been trying to deal with that because I do believe that it's real. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's a part of all this alien stuff that we've been talking about. I just don't know what to do with it.
I'm not seeing appellation in here, do y'all? I see appellate, it should come right here.
Now, appellate court, appellate.
It should come after that, unless I'm spelling.
But appellate is for appealing.
Yeah, appellate.
Appellate is regarding the appeal.
It should be right. I'm spelling it right.
Yeah, it should come right after that because the I would come next.
What's on the next page?
Right here.
Appellatio. And then appellatio is still an appeal.
Not here. That's weird.
Apple cider vinegar is there, but not appellation.
Appellation. Appellation.
Have the apple cider vinegar is in the Black's Law Dictionary, but not appellation. That's crazy.
But it's in here because I have Black's Law Dictionary. It's in there.
They took it out.
Appellation.
How'd they take it out?
We looking for appellation or application?
Appellation, like on what you call yourself.
Yeah, appellation. Yeah, no. Here, yeah.
So these are not
Black's Law Dictionary.
Yeah, but do you guys see this?
Mm-hmm.
See what we can do
legal
there.
definition. It should be in Black's Law Dictionary then.
It's not there. I got Black's Law Dictionary and it's there in my paperback copy, But do
Wow.
you see what it's saying? Characterization. Character is only expressed through what? History, actions.
Mhm.
Right.
Your credit report, your criminal record, right? Your financial statement.
Your
Right.
work ethic.
Yeah. So like things like label and name,
Mhm.
these have nothing to do with your history or character.
Mhm.
For example, my name could be Sam and it doesn't show anything about who I am.
Right.
Objects have names. And if you, as a matter of fact, I showed this before. What is it called? Capitus, do. Yeah, here it is.
Capital. De minimis.
Yeah. Judy knows everything.
Capital
Yes.
letter.
Mhm.
Mhm. I've heard a few things.
So this is what this has to do with. When we start going into identifying as names, we put ourselves in Western law under the jurisdiction,
The dominion.
yeah, under the dominion of the court, of the Roman
Wow.
court, right? So
Mhm.
what does this say, Stan?
I don't know. It's almost written in Latin. Capitis, denominatio. I don't know. Y'all be better off reading that. Literal
So
means.
capitis diminutio literally means diminishing of a person's personality or status. A person may lose his personality or legal capacity either in whole or in part.
Wow.
Notice this, there are 3 stages of losing a person's personality, namely capitis diminutio minima, right? That's the least, consisting of the loss of a person's family relationships alone. Now you see this stuff in contracts, I'm sorry, in federal and state constitutions. Like for example, the blood, what is it called? It'll come to me, There shall be no something of blood, but this is what it's talking about. Huh?
Sanguinity?
No, not sanguinity, it's a legal term.
Sanguinity is a legal term. It means blood.
Yeah, but in constitutions, it doesn't say sanguinity. I know what you're talking about, sis, but I'll find it, okay? I'll pull up a constitution and show it. The rights of liberty and citizenship are unaltered, okay? So this is the minimum loss of status. Notice this one. Capitis diminutio media, consisting of the loss of a person's what? Citizenship and family. So when you lose family, what does that mean? You lose your inheritance, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Inheritance is passed through family.
Right.
Right.
Can you put 2 and 2 together? Did we lose our inheritance?
Oh yeah.
Did we lose? Did we lose what tribe we come from?
Yeah. You lost everything. Knowledge is self.
Are we now going by names? Are they not in all caps or upper and lower caps?
No, they're in all caps. That's
all caps.
Right. Capitis capital. Capitis diminutio media, consisting of the loss of a person's citizenship and family. Here there is no loss of personal liberty. In capitis diminutio minima, there is a medium loss of status. So what's liberty?
Freedom.
How do you distinguish freedom from liberty?
Sovereignty.
Sovereignty. Yeah.
So let me check real quick.
Your sovereignty is God-given, but when you have a name, they take that away from you.
Okay, so it says broadly speaking, you guys see that? Liberty is the ability to do as one pleases. Now let's go down to freedom, okay? Freedom is more broad in that it represents a total lack of restraint or the unrestrained ability to fill one's own desires. So but let me see if I can find it. Freedom basically means you have a right to not be harassed or things like that, but liberty is you can do whatever you want to do. Let me see, I want to find some. Okay, here, let's see differences. Not in Hindi, but in English. So it's clear. Let's see. Okay. Freedom versus liberty. Freedom is predominantly an internal construct. Oh no, this is philosophy. I want it in law. Well, can we come back to it?
Yeah.
Of course.
Because they're different. Freedom means you're free from being harassed, you're free from this and free from that, right? Troubles. Liberty is you can do whatever you want. So 3, capitis diminutio maxima, consisting of the loss of liberty. So now you can't do what you want, right? They take it away. You have no citizenship, you have no nationality, and you have no family.
Or inheritance.
Or inheritance. So you're a stateless person and a slave. Sound familiar?
Yep.
Here a person's status is changed from freedom to bondage. This is the maximum level of loss of status. So when we start talking about names, this is what you're dealing with. Because you gotta what? You gotta write the name out, right?
Right.
Sam Jones. So how do they teach you to spell it? Capital S, lowercase a-m, capital J, lowercase the rest, right? So that would be what? You're using capital letters, so it's going to be one of these, right? And those, how you write that name signifies what your level or what your status is. So in all caps, total loss. That's why slave.
That's the maximum.
Maximum. So that's why the Most High and our people, we didn't have names. We had appellation. These are things, appellation is something that describes my character, my history, right? And that I would respond to if someone said it to me. But we knew that the appellation is not us. Whereas people think that their name is them.
Right.
And when you go into the court, when the judge says, Sam, are you Sam Jones? And you say yes, you've automatically what?
Submitted yourself to their jurisdiction.
Submitted right. Right, because you identified as being their property.
Yep.
Right.
As opposed to having an appellation, right? Now that name or that appellation is your property. And you can say, you can put it on paper or I forbid you to, right? Because you can copyright it. But anyway, that's what this is all about. So the Most High doesn't have a name, as we see Holmes brings out. It's an appellation, a mark, and or a memorial of individuality. Individuality would mean his uniqueness as the Most High, right? And what he's done through history.
Yeah.
So where were we? So
Most High everything.
So, but there's so many ways we could take this discussion. You know, so many ways we could take the discussion. But I think that concludes the Genesis chapter 1. Oh, I got a question for you guys. So, given all of this, and John chapter 1, and then we'll wrap it up. John chapter 1 cites Genesis chapter 1 as its evidence. So what can we conclude?
That was inserted also to make sure that as they presented it in the ages, it would be used as evidence to validate Genesis chapter 1.
Yeah.
And the whole Jesus story. Because then they're going to create a story around Jesus being the Word and the whole, triune Godhead and all the names that would be associated with the Word.
And when you look up...
and even the whole word of the Bible, like the Bible is considered the Word of God, so the whole Bible is what was spoken into existence for the believers today.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to find my dictionary because
So do we throw the baby out with the bathwater?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm not ready to do that yet. But yeah, because I mean, even throughout the past 20 years, maybe, I've known something was wrong with it, but I've continued to read it. And I just believe not to throw the baby out with the bathwater, but it's just, it does require more scrutiny.
Now,
I might have to throw out more.
Is that because of what the authors did or what the translators did?
I think it's the translators.
The what? The translators?
That's
yeah, is it the authors? Or, I mean, is it the authors that's misleading us? Or is it translators that's misleading us?
I think
because if it's the translators, then we can still get to the application of truth.
If you can find a true record of the original writings, Sanskrit or...
Yeah, well, we don't have that. Nothing original exists. Only thing we have is copies of copies.
Hey Stan, can you read this and then tell who's responsible?
Okay. How can we say? Oh yeah. How can we say we are wise for when we have the law of the Most High, when actually the lion pen of the scribes has handled it falsely?
So the scribes are the who?
The translators, the people who wrote it.
Yeah.
The people who wrote it, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, Shakespeare.
Yeah. So, but what does the Most High tell us? So ultimately, it becomes a matter of what?
Self-approved. Study to show thyself approved.
Yeah, study to show thyself approved. And what else is he telling us?
Well, I think when we read it, concerning the scriptures, when we read it, by relying on the Holy Spirit, the truth within the scriptures ultimately will get to us if we coming from that position of truth and earnesty.
Okay.
But that verse said the law. You have the laws of the Most High.
Yeah, but we got the laws, but the laws is in this book.
Yeah, we're not saying throw out the baby with the bathwater.
Let's see what the Most High says about salvation, right? Let's just see that. And Stan, you want to read verse 31?
Yeah, 30 or 31. 30, right? Verse 1, chapter 30. And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessings and the curses which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, whether Most High, thy Lord, thy Yahweh, have driven thee, and shall return unto the Lord thy God, and shall obey his voice according to all that I have commanded thee this day, thou and thy children, with all thy heart and with all thy soul, that then the Lord thy God will turn the captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations, whether the Lord thy God has scattered thee.
Okay, can we stop there? So according to the Most High, what do we have to do in order for him to give us salvation or say,
return
hmm?
return to the Most High
Return.
and obey his
And
voice.
how do we
Obey
return?
his voice. So really, that's the Holy Spirit that's going to talk to us.
Well,
And
we're gonna get there, Judy, about the Holy Spirit. Okay, we'll get there, but right here, so we can parse it out. Right here in verse 2, what is it saying?
return to the Most High.
To the Most High, and obey his voice according to all that he commanded thee this day.
So
Thou and thy children and thy heart with all thine heart and with all thy soul.
right. So this command is literally means what? Instructions, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So this is saying the Most High is saying follow his instructions.
Mm-hmm.
Returning to the Most High means follow his instructions. And then in verse 3, it says then, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you do that, then the Most High is going to do what?
Turn thy captivity, will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations, whither the Yahweh, the Most High, hath scattered thee.
So what is that telling us?
Obey his commandments, and he's going to save us.
Right. That's all we got to do. So everything else, I'm not saying you guys are wrong. Huh?
How do we know what commandments are?
How do we know what his commandments are?
Yeah.
That's what we're doing now.
Okay.
See, what did he say was going to happen in the last days? About knowledge.
Did he pour out knowledge on the earth?
I'm listening. I'm trying to turn my phone.
What did the Most High say would happen with knowledge in the last days? Would it increase or decrease?
Increase.
It would increase. So
Right.
when knowledge increases, what has to happen to the lies?
They decrease. But that's happening now.
They
Right.
would
How
come
do
to
they
life.
decrease? Through the process of what?
Of the truth being increased.
Right. So the truth exposes lies.
Right.
Everything comes to light.
That's
Right.
what's happening now.
That's what's happening now.
Right. It becomes a matter of us being willing to accept it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's like after 42 years of ministry, I find myself here today. Now going on 2 years, almost a year and a half.
So this is a choice.
Being called to be an apostle
Mhm.
and all of that, I find myself after 42 years of ministry in the church, pastoring, preaching since 22,
Mhm.
being
That must be hard.
installed as an apostle. Yeah, I mean, having my family, my sisters and everybody now, my aunts, and I mean, in my family, there's over 100 preachers in my family. There's 5 churches in my family that existed since the 1800s. That was my great-grandfather.
Got a lot of work.
All of my family are Christian folk. I mean, so, you know, everybody now is looking at me, you know, they don't know how to take me, you know, because, you know, they see this direction I'm in and they see my baby son following me and they saying I'm influencing him and I'm talking crazy. You know,
right?
all my cousins are pastors and my aunts are pastors. You know, I only got one aunt left, but
Are they 501c3?
say, well, I was 501c3, yeah.
And you got out of that?
Well, yeah, I got out of it because I no longer have the church.
But you know, that's what ties you to the government and the whole control.
Right. I mean, while I had the church, I had the 501c3.
And you didn't know any better.
No, because I was following the law of the state of South Carolina.
Okay. Now that you know more truth, more wisdom, more light,
Yeah, I mean,
like your responsibility. But you would have to show them, just like Ox showed us what the capitis determinus means, and the capital name, and how government makes us slaves, and the Bible
right,
makes you as a preacher a slave to their system to
right.
continue to elude the people. So you have a really huge responsibility. But you could look at it as the Most High has chosen you to be a beacon for your family of so-called believers. They're believers. They're believers in what they've been taught. So there is a possibility for you to teach them.
Yeah. I was telling Elle that I got a class that I'm doing now on Zoom. I have like 7 students, and they were all Christians. One's a Muslim. One is my cousin is Hebrew, but she's strictly Old Testament. Her and her husband. They walked away from their ministry as well. They closed down their ministry as well. But I'm not looking at what I lost, because I've only got gain.
Right, exactly.
I'm only all I got is gain. So, and that doesn't mean anything without the Most High in my life. So at this point, I guess it's like Yahoo said, I will sacrifice all. So I wish I was able to communicate with my mother. But she passed in June, and the last 4 years she's been dealing with dementia, so I never really got the opportunity to talk to her, because everything I knew about the Bible came from her. She was an evangelist most of my life. So
my mom.
Can I point you guys' attention now to verse 6? Which you guys were talking about?
Yes. Oh my, beautiful.
Can we read 6? Can somebody read 6, please?
I will. And the Lord, will circumcise thine heart and the heart of thy seed, to love him with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. Continue.
No. So when it says circumcise thine heart, what does that mean?
He's going to snip
away. He's going to cut away the unclean parts.
Right. So the Most High is going to make it easy for us to keep His commandments, right? That's what He did. So we don't have to worry about these things. All we need to do is keep the commandments, and the Most High will reveal it to us. See, it's Him saying that He's going to circumcise our heart, right?
And the heart of thy seed.
We don't have to do anything but keep the commandments as best we can.
Okay.
You guys see that? So it's through His Spirit that He's going to act on us and bring these things out. And how do I know? How can we confirm it?
Well, the heart, to me, heart is spirit.
Okay.
Heart has emotion. Spirit is emotion.
So let's look at verse 7. Verse 7 says, and, so this is in the sequence, right? The sequence here starts up here, if we return to the Most High and follow His... And
we'll put all these curses upon...
Right, verse 7. Go ahead, sis.
And the Most High will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee.
Okay, so and what was the promise that He gave us? If we follow His instructions, He would bless us and do what? In Deuteronomy 28, very first verse.
Bring us back together.
Let's go. I hope y'all don't mind the NIV, but that's 28, Deuteronomy 28. If you fully obey the Most High, your power, and carefully follow all his commandments, I give you today, the Most High will set you what?
High.
Above all nations.
High above all nations on earth, and all these blessings will come on you and accompany you or overtake you if you obey the Most High, your power. So when we go back here at Deuteronomy 30 and we look at verse 7, and we see that these curses are being transferred to our enemies, we know that the only way that that's going to happen is that we're following the commandments, right?
Mm-hmm.
So coming from here, the Most High is telling us he's going to make it easy for us and to show us what to do. All we need to do is do it. You guys see that? So
Yeah.
this is the Ruach guiding and leading us.
Yeah.
But it requires us to follow these instructions.
Yeah. First.
Right? And this is the last point I bring out. In verse verse 19. Verse 19. Judy, can you read this one?
I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live.
Okay, so heaven and earth is still here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, to record, that's a record, right? That's legal. So we're dealing with legal matters.
What hits in the generations. That's what we had noted in Genesis chapter.
Yes. When we deal with the Most High, we deal with legal matters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so these are going to record, the record is going to be there. These are a witness, right? Other translators will say witness against you, right? And that's a legal term. Set before us life and death, and all we have to do, according to the text, is follow the instructions. And the Most High wants to make us wealthy. That's why he says, therefore choose life. He wants us to be wealthy and on top of everybody. All we have to do is follow the instructions and stand, as you brought out, in the future or in our time, when this truth starts to become more abundant, the lies will be exposed. And then those lies, once they become exposed, are we going to be so uncomfortable with it that we can't?
We might be, but you know what? Growth, ultimately, nothing comes, nothing comes without a struggle.
That's right.
So, I guess the worst struggle is the struggle we have with ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But, at the end, we have the assurance that we win. I mean, we come out all right. So even in that, that's why I don't begrudge my journey.
Mm-hmm.
It's necessary. Everything that I went through was necessary to get me to where I am today.
Mm-hmm.
So looking at this, though, my question is to you, sum it up in plain words from Genesis 1, Genesis 2, John 1 and 1, everything that we have thought about, everything we have talked about, basically to understand what you have presented is there are two different creations, and the creator in chapter 1 is not the same as the Most High, and the creation in chapter 1 is different from the creation in chapter 2.
Mm-hmm.
And the people are different, and they remain to this day, and God is going to separate the wheat and the chaff, and basically we're going to know who who is.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Stan, I got a question for you. I got a question.
Okay.
Given everything you just said, these realities, right? Why did the Most High why did he forbid us to mix with certain people, to have marriages and children with certain people?
Because he didn't want us to adopt their ways.
And what else?
And he didn't want us to mix our blood.
There you go, with these hybrids.
Right.
It makes more sense now, doesn't it? About the strict rules of us being separate from other people. And why he told us don't engage in the sexual practices that they were engaging in. Remember he said no sex with
What does that mean for us? What does that mean for us that's on the side of Atlantic that was brought here, had no knowledge of self, had no knowledge of our customs, and now we done bowed to these gods and with no with nothing that we had to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
We run our DNA and we see that our DNA got hybrid blood in us because on our journey or our excursion and how we were brought to America and how our women was treated, how they were abused
Mm-hmm.
and forced to do things beyond their will.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, had these children, and like any mother would care and take care of these children, even their children,
Mm-hmm.
because of the love we have.
Mm-hmm.
So, but what does that have to say for us? Because whether it's my fault or not, there very well could be Anunnaki blood in me.
But what did the Most High say?
Say it, explain.
The Most High said he was going to curse us.
Well, we all have been cursed. We've done that. We shared our curse.
Right. He cursed us, and he said he wouldn't care anything about our children. He would walk away from our children. Right.
Right.
He said it's finished. When I curse you, you and your children, y'all finished. Basically, I mean, I'm paraphrasing. So you see what I'm saying? That's the consequence. Now,
but we got to get back. We still got to get back.
Well, yeah, I agree with you, but how can I say that? I don't know anything about what the Most High going to do. All I know is that he said for us to return. And,
right.
And lineage comes from the Father. So what he's going to do, I don't know. But if I know this, that if a person feels compelled to follow the Most High's instruction, right, then you can be confident that the Most High is dealing with that person.
Well, yeah.
And I wouldn't trust the DNA test company anyway, because they lie.
Mm-hmm.
They'll put anything in there.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't give it any thought about what they put on a DNA test result.
Yeah.
Because you gotta remember, man, these people are witch doctors.
Yeah.
You have to look at it in terms of what they are from a cultural point of view. From our cultural point of view, they're witch doctors.
Right.
And I've heard, do you know Dr. Deepak Chopra?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He admitted that he's a witch doctor.
Mm.
I heard him on a video say it. But you have to look up what it means to be a wizard.
Right.
Right? You have to look up what that means. And pharmakia. There's nothing wrong with the medicine itself. It's when the person draws attention to themselves so that they receive a benefit, so that they have power in them, right? That's what makes them a witch doctor. So when you get these companies advertising, building a brand in your brain, right? That's what makes them a witch doctor or a wizard, right? Not the herb itself. So I wouldn't worry about that kind of thing, man, because it's unimportant.
Right. Right.
unimportant. If the Most High wasn't dealing with a person, they'd be out here doing the, you know, the
other things. You'd be doing things to please yourself, right?
Right. You wouldn't be even interested in
Right.
even learning what these instructions are, let alone doing them.
Like there are many people that are not interested in it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
have no notion at all.
No notion
Don't
in
even think
regard.
about it.
And they would, if they did learn this stuff, they would be looking at it for money.
Yeah.
So, and you got to remember also that the DNA of the giants, they produce extremely violent people.
Well, that's true.
So you'd also be able to recognize them by their behavior, their violence. So 20. Can we end it with verse 20, Stan? You want to read this?
Yeah, okay.
And then
verse 20, that thou mayest love the Lord thy God, and that thou mayest obey his voice, and that thou mayest cleave unto him, for he is thy life and the length of thy days, that thou mayest dwell in the land which the Most High swear unto thy fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and Jacob, to give them, to give to them, to give to them, to give them. Okay.
Okay, so can you give us some commentary so we can exit?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Here basically, he's talking about, in a sense, really what love is. Love is obedience. It's not a feeling or an expression. It's obedience to the one true God, and that if we obey his voice, and that if we cleave to him, he basically will be the Lord of our life, and he will lengthen our days. That was intended for us from the beginning, because we were intended to live forever, not die, because there's no death in him, that thou mayest dwell in the land which he has already provided for us through our father, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And because of them and through them, we have the assurance of the blessing.
Okay, thanks, Stan. Judy, you want to speak in closing, especially about this verse 20?
For me, it's just to stay on the path, stay doing what I'm doing. And that's doing my best to be obedient,
Okay.
which is what I've been doing. And studying and being obedient.
Okay. So for me, when I look at this, it's telling me that to keep the commandments, to follow the instructions, because that's loving the Most High. And when I follow those instructions and show love, the Most High is going to help me further to obey his voice, so I'll be on autopilot. And through that autopilot type of relationship, you know, I'm clinging to him. And he makes my life easy, right?
Yeah.
And then that's where my personal blessing for me is for the Most High to come back and put these curses on the enemy.
Right.
For me, that's my personal blessing, right? But also the blessing of our nation. That's how I'm dealing with this, and also in my everyday life. So that's the blessing I'm looking for us to be brought back into our land, and for us to be redeemed and have these curses shift, because it can't be any other way. It's either us or them. There's no in between. You know, either they're going to be cursed or we're going to be cursed. Either we'll be on top or they're going to be on top. That's just the way the Most High said it's got to be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Deuteronomy, that's just the way it is. You know, so
What book is it? What book is it that says that Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning?
oh yeah, I forgot that. Let me see. I
No, it's in Apocrypha. It's in I can't think. Is it in Baruch?
Oh, sorry.
I'm not good with remembering.
Yeah.
Let me see. Yeah, Ezra 4:6. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
My battery's dying.
Okay.
I gotta go charge my phone. I have 5%.
Thanks.
Well, I think we're ending anyway, right? Today was a good day.
Yeah.
Very
Yesterday was good, but today was better.
good. Yeah, I think we got a lot accomplished in
Judy,
a productive way.
you know, I hope the three of us can do this again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
this was good. This was good. That's just fantastic. And the next time you want to do it, El, just send me a message. But I need to get email me your phone number.
I put it in the chat already, but let me. I'll email it to you.
Okay.
I'll do that right now.
4%. I gotta go.
Okay. See you guys later. Thanks. Now I enjoyed it.
Enjoy. See y'all next time, man.
Okay. Thank you
Shalom.
both. Shalom. Peace.
Shalom.
I'm gonna send it to you right now, Stan. Thanks, you're a very knowledgeable man about some topics, man, that most people don't know anything about. I really, really appreciate you agreeing and doing this with me. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, thanks, man. You know, I mean, you know, the Lord has blessed me, man. I must say,